meters. One morning, Marcus stood atop a dune, doubt creeping in for the first time. "Marcus, you sure about this?" The words had barely left my mouth when the light around us suddenly dimmed. And then, everyone's eyes turned toward the horizon at once. God, that's a massive whale. If I hadn't seen it myself, I never would have believed a whale could fly through the sky. Its enormous body blotted out the sun as it drifted through the clouds. For a moment, the whole world seemed to shrink down to that colossal creature gliding overhead. It's a whale. No, wait, that's number 9. Why is it showing up here? Houses floated across the whale's back, dozens of men, women, children peering down at us with a look that left me deeply unsettled. As everyone stared wide-eyed, the whale dipped slightly lower, its massive belly fins churning up a violent wind, slowly closing in on the caravan. I snapped my head up, but thankfully the whale seemed to have no interest in us at all. It simply gave its massive fins a gentle beat and, like a ship sailing into the clouds, vanished back into the sky. Marcus stayed silent for a long while. Not until the shadow had completely disappeared did he finally speak. "That's the sky whale number 9. The sky whale that's an artifact too?" "That's right. It ranks in the top 10 artifacts number 9, the sky whale. I thought artifacts were just weapons, things like your radio. Never imagined a living creature could become one. The higher an artifact ranks, the steeper its price." When Marcus said the word price, something heavy settled in his eyes. "Those people up there, they're survivors too. We rely on trucks, they rely on the whale. Different ways of surviving, but underneath it, no different at all. Are there oddities up there too? Sky, seabed, underground, anywhere you can imagine, there's an oddity. Even with an artifact like number 9, if something latches onto you, there's no way out." Though the sky whale's shadow had long since faded, the weight of that awe still lingered heavily over us. Still, I had a second artifact of my own coming soon. Compared to my last upgrade, I was clearly far more eager for this one. From a bicycle, all the way to the apocalypse pickup, and now this artifact I'd poured no small amount of effort into getting here. That night, Bao proposed the caravan hold a New Year's celebration the final night of 2030, crossing into 2031. Dozens of tents formed a ring, like the last city left standing in this shattered world. Camel meat had been one thing the caravan never lacked lately after all. This animal could go without water for half a month without breaking a sweat. So tonight's feast turned out generous, with everyone at least getting a few pieces of fresh meat. But what caught me most off guard was Lena. To a tune crackling out of a battered old radio, she danced with a grace that was hard to put into words. Every man around swallowed hard in unison, eyes practically devouring her whole. But Lena barely gave them a glance, her gaze finally settling on me instead. I caught a bit of the rest of the show, but my mind was already somewhere else. The Apocalypse Pickup's upgrade had less than 2 hours left, so I retreated to my own tent and began my practice, the blood moon breathing method. I lost track of time, until a faint, strange noise drifted in from outside near the truck. I threw back the tent flap to find a stretch of black metal now running along the truck's underside, and a cattle guard-style bumper had appeared on the front. Classic off-road build, through and through. Vehicle information, artifact name, Apocalypse Pickup, Model B2899. Ability 1, boosts overall vehicle durability and fuel efficiency. Ability 2, this vehicle fears nothing more than a collision because it's built to win them. If danger strikes, floor the gas and ram straight through. Ability 3, Shadow Drag. Can extend a chain of shadow from beneath the truck, binding a target creature and dragging it under the vehicle, crushed and broken down into fuel. Price, 1 living sacrifice required every month, preferably human. Taboo, no eating or drinking inside the vehicle, doing so risks being consumed by the vehicle itself. No trace of blood is allowed inside the cabin, and no injury should occur within it, otherwise, there's a risk of being devoured by the vehicle. Should combat grow too intense, the vehicle risks turning on its own driver. Note, if you are Ethan Chen, all prices and taboos may be disregarded. You may drive this Apocalypse Pickup freely, and hold complete command over it. Commentary, this artifact, evolved from a simple two-wheeler, carries the full weight of Ethan Chen's dedication. It has come to see Ethan Chen as something like a father figure. Triggered trait, when Ethan Chen drives this Apocalypse Pickup, it unlocks a mastery-level driving skill set. The kind of stunt driving you'd see in movies won't be difficult for Ethan Chen to pull off at all. This trait comes with sole owner exclusivity. The next morning, when I started the newly upgraded truck, I felt it instantly a stability unlike anything before. Every turn, every burst of acceleration, I could feel its exact shape and weight beneath me. This, I figured, was the trait at work. But the road ahead wasn't kind. In just a few days, more than 10 people had fallen behind from lack of water, and even the camels began collapsing into the sand from exhaustion, refusing to go another step. Faced with this, Bao had run out of options. All he could do was speed up making dried meat, just in case things got worse. "Boss, we're out of water. You got any left?" "Not me either, drank the last of mine this morning." "Damn it, those superhumans have plenty of water. Why won't they spare a drop for us?" Ever since I'd killed Blondie with a single blow, the remaining 3 thugs had hated me down to their bones, and now they'd set their sights squarely on me. "Boss, rather than die of thirst, why not gamble big? Should we just take theirs by force? Who are you thinking of hitting?" "I want to hit Ethan Chen." That night, the leader took watch while the second man moved to act. What they didn't know was that the moment they neared the apocalypse pickup, a pitch-black tendril slid silently out from beneath it. The next instant, the second man felt something slick and cold wrap around his waist. His balance gave out in an instant, and before he understood what was happening, he was yanked under the truck. Through the entire ordeal, he never managed to scream a single word, just the sharp, wet crunch of bones being ground apart. This was the apocalypse pickup's third ability, Shadow Drag. At the same moment, the fuel gauge, once nearly empty, suddenly filled back up. Watching from the shadows, the leader nearly jumped out of his skin. He scrambled back to camp on all fours, terrified. The next morning, Bao counted heads and found one missing. The leader claimed the second man had run off alone in the night, and Bao didn't press further after all. This kind of thing had stopped being unusual long ago. The road ahead remained brutal. More and more people showed signs of dehydration, and even the camels began dying off in numbers. Just as despair spread through the caravan, a faint coolness crept into the scorching air. The next second, Marcus's off-roader surged into a sudden burst of speed. "Chanchin, Ethan and the captain just tore off ahead. Ethan never gets moving without a reason. Let's catch up now." "Got it, Chanchin. Watch me." At the same time, Iron Lion's bus fired up its engine too, and the whole caravan pushed forward at full speed. 20 minutes later, the endless desert finally stopped being the only thing on the horizon. Ahead of us, patches of green grew thicker, and the air itself began to soften with moisture. I could feel it clearly. Every cell in my body seemed to cheer. As if picking up on my own excitement, the truck's front end kept rearing up eagerly, until from the driver's seat all I could see was blue sky and drifting clouds. Then the nose dropped back down, and a stretch of blue-green lake filled my view. It looked like a jewel that had fallen straight into the desert, shimmering with the glow of life under the sun. The wave of moisture hitting my face felt like stepping out of hell and back into the world of the living. I'd never known a body of water could look so beautiful. "Chianchin, that's water. Hell yeah, we actually made it." A deafening cheer erupted from inside the bus. A few of the Boulder survivors just leapt straight into the lake. Just as I was about to approach the water's edge myself, Marcus's words suddenly came back to me. Sky, land, water, there were oddities everywhere. I forced my excitement back down. There was no rush. Not yet. I glanced up toward Marcus instead. Rippling green light circled his body, an unfamiliar power flowing around him. "Hey Marcus, why aren't you getting in?" Hearing me, Marcus let a rare, gentle smile cross his face. "Ethan, I just leveled up to sequence 2. Do you approach everything this carefully? Aren't you the same way?" Marcus and I traded a knowing smile, each of us recognizing a kindred spirit in the other's eyes. "Hey, Bao, get those people out of there. That's drinking water, not a bathhouse." The survivors who just splashed in got chewed out by Bao within minutes, scrambling sheepishly back to shore. That night's camp naturally settled by the lake. Survivors busied themselves pitching tents, sorting supplies, and for once a long-forgotten sense of calm let everyone breathe easy. Marcus produced a staff from somewhere, driving it hard into the ground. The next instant, a translucent dome of light descended from the sky, wrapping the entire camp inside it. The moment the ritual finished, Marcus's face turned deathly pale, his whole body sagging with exhaustion. This is a Pathfinder ability. Hidden Warden. A new skill from Sequence 2, Concealment Barrier. It masks the presence of the living within a certain range, making it harder for oddities to spot us. But we can only stay here for 3 days at most. After that, we have to move on. Oh, Bao let everyone know, do not, under any circumstances, wander outside the barrier. When everyone heard they'd finally get 3 days of safe rest, the camp erupted in cheers loud enough to shake the sand. Beyond the concealment barrier, after leveling into Sequence 2 Hidden Warden, Marcus had awakened 3 more abilities. One was Weather Sense, letting him predict weather shifts up to 24 hours out. The second was Waymark, a true Pathfinder skill, letting him imprint information onto a specific location or object, so others or future groups could track it later. The third was Bonded Whisper. Whenever 2 Pathfinders came within a certain range of each other, they could sense one another and exchange simple messages. Before the apocalypse, powers like these might have seemed trivial. Now they were survival tools beyond price. The 3 days of rest passed in the blink of an eye. The caravan set out once more, soon reaching the edge of the desert. But this time fear gripped every single one of us, because on the far side of the sands an even stranger sight was waiting. On one side stretched an endless desert, the sun blazing high overhead, while on the other side fat white snowflakes fell in a silent blizzard. I glanced down at the flip-flops on my feet, then back at the truck, patched together and barely running. "Marcus, are we really going in there?" The instant the name Wrong City was spoken, the color drained from every face around us. By any normal logic, the denser the population once was, the more oddities a place tended to breed. Wrong City's danger, without question, dwarfed anything Longevity Village had ever posed. After hearing Marcus's plan, doubts spread through the group one by one. If there were any other option, I wouldn't send any of you into that city. I already checked ahead. The villages surrounding Wrong City have already been picked clean of supplies. Thanks to that radio of his, Marcus had a precise read on the state of supplies around us. But even with that, fear and hesitation still lingered on every face. Seeing this, Marcus spread out the map and pointed to a specific zone. I'm not laying this out to send anyone to their death. Right here, Wrong City Shopping District is the closest to us. There are 3 large supermarkets in this area. Find just one of them, and we'll have everything we need to survive the brutal cold ahead. Within my sensing range, there are no more than 3 active oddities in that zone. As long as we're fast, we should be fine. If a region only has 3 oddities, that alone proves how terrifying these 3 oddities really are, far beyond anything else out there. Captain, I actually have an idea. The question is, do you dare try it? Let's hear it, Captain. Why not go out there as bait yourself? You can set up a concealment barrier here first. A few of us hide inside it. Once you lead some of the survivors out, you draw every oddity in Changwon District away. We use the chance to gather supplies, then regroup back here later. What do you think? Even if the oddities latch onto you, as long as you toss out a few survivors to distract them, that's more than enough for us to slip away. Marcus glares at me, furious. He never expected me to say something like that, and even less that I'd turn a Pathfinder with 0 combat power into bait. Ethan, shut your mouth. But to keep from freezing to death in the brutal cold, the group finally agrees. Tomorrow at first light, a few of us sequenced superhumans will lead the survivors into Wrong City to gather supplies, while Marcus stays outside to provide backup. I climb back into my own car. My breath freezes into white mist in the air. I can even hear the ice crackling on the window glass. Unable to stand it any longer, I decide to sneak over to Chanchin's SUV to warm up for a bit. Too bad Minnow won't give me that much face. You two don't even think about kicking me out to go do something shameless. It's cold enough to kill someone out there. Minnow never forgets the night she was thrown out of the car, alone in the cold. If Bao hadn't found her and taken her in time, she probably wouldn't have made it through that night. The next morning, I wake up practically frozen solid. At the same time, several survivors who rested last night are frozen stiff like ice sculptures. Over 70% of the survivors have fallen sick from the cold. If we don't solve the warmth and supply problem soon, the whole convoy might not survive this freezing night. Everyone, I know you may not care much about ordinary people's lives, but if every ordinary person in this convoy dies out, can the few of us really keep going on our own? We've already lost too many people. We can't afford to lose any more. Marcus's words settle over the group like a heavyweight. Captain, don't worry. We'll bring the medicine back. Leave it to us. In the end, the vehicles drive for a full hour and a half before finally reaching the outskirts of Wrong City. By now, the streets are littered with mangled, wrecked cars. I just floor the gas and smash straight through a path, until a clothing store catches my eye. That's where I finally pull over. Ethan, you really outdid yourself. I didn't even notice this place. In an instant, the whole store fills with the excited voices of survivors, all of them wishing they could haul away every last piece of clothing. As for me, I pull on a black down jacket right on the spot. Instantly, a long-lost warmth spreads through my body. Right now, Ivy walks out wearing a down jacket, a tall, lanky young man trailing behind her. Word is, Ivy wants to get herself a vehicle, so Ricky volunteers to tag along. He's got his eye on a delivery truck parked by the road. This box truck right here, can you get it running? Just watch me. A few minutes later, the engine sputters to life with a rumble. Ivy, we're in business! But right at that moment, a bone-deep chill shoots up my spine. Chanchin and Iron Lion snap into combat stance almost at the same instant. I immediately breathe out a mouthful of smoke, blanketing everyone within 10 meters. The next second, a heart-wrenching wail falls from the sky. I look up through the smoke and see a massive 8-armed creature crashing down from the clouds. Every one of its tentacles is as thick as a barrel. But the most bone-chilling part is those 8 human faces, some wear gentle, kindly smiles, others twisted with hatred and resentment, all fused onto the body of a single monster. Before we can react, this oddity doesn't wait. A thick tentacle slams straight down. And with that, an unavoidable battle breaks out. Damn it, watch this. Is this the new power of Titan Sequence 2, the Twin Skull Titan? It's still not dying? Ethan, watch out. You son of a bitch, you dare? Sword technique, go. Grandpa, someone's bullying me. Don't cry, sweetheart. Grandma will fry up every single one of these people who bullied you. To hell with you, Iron Lion roars, cutting off the creature's mad ravings mid-sentence, the air cannons on his arms blasting straight into the beast. At the same time, I'm gathering a far larger sky whale of my own. But the instant we all go all out, a strange wave of energy ripples outward from the 8-armed monster. Ha! This is the life siphon field. Let's see how you bully me now. The next second, an ordinary survivor's body starts visibly shriveling away before our eyes. My heart lurches. I quickly activate the blood moon breathing method, and the sensation of something being drained from inside me fades away almost instantly. But Jianchin and the others aren't so lucky. Their faces turn deathly pale, their breathing grows faint, like they could collapse at any moment. I make an instant decision. A massive whale formed of smoke roars and slams into the 8-armed monster. In the distance, 2 figures in black cloaks approach slowly. Blood tears, boundless mercy bones pave the god's path. Lord above, bear witness to the final end. Their faces are impossible to make out, yet every one of them presses their palms together in prayer. Even stranger, 2 of them carry a litter, atop which sits a woman of unearthly seductive beauty. Beside her, a hooded figure with lowered head raises high a massive blood-red scythe. In that instant, a chill shoots straight from the soles of my feet to the crown of my head. This is another oddity. Seeing this, I immediately hide my body completely within the smoke. Why have you come? The god says you've crossed the line. We're sorry, we've gone hungry too long, we truly couldn't hold back. We're leaving now, leaving right now. With that, the enormous body turns and flees as if fleeing for its life. You want to leave now? Is it too late for that? The hooded figure's voice drips with mockery, then he drops to his knees before the woman in red on the litter. Great death god, the eight-limbed face has broken the pact. Please bring down divine punishment. In that moment, the woman in red rises calmly, drawing the blood-red long blade at her side. The god says you are guilty. She gives it a light swing. A towering blade of blood erupts in an instant. The eight-limbed face doesn't even have time to scream before its massive body is sliced clean in two. Yet strangely, the two severed halves keep thrashing, and in the end, it can only drag both halves away as it flees. The whole scene leaves everyone too afraid to breathe. Just then, the hooded man approaches, stopping 3 meters from us. Friends, we mean no harm. We're human too. Would you care to come out and meet us? My nerves are still wound tight, yet his voice carries a force that's hard to refuse. My name is Simon Wu. I'm a Divine Blade, God Worship Sequence 3. It's a pleasure to meet you all. His tone is completely sincere. But what catches my attention isn't Sequence 3. It's this God Worship sequence I've never even heard of. What surprises me even more is that this man in front of me gives off an oddly familiar feeling. Before I can even speak, Chanshin and the others beside her suddenly burst into tears. Uncle Wu, is that really you? Chanshin, you're still alive? Thank God, Uncle Simon. Is that really you, Uncle Simon? Uncle Wu, is it really you? I'm completely stunned. Wait, you're all related to him? Chanshin wipes her tears, nodding. Yeah, Uncle Wu used to live right next door to us. When my parents got home late when I was a kid, I'd go eat dinner at his place all the time. Uncle Wu is really a good person. At this, Simon slowly turns his gaze toward me. Ethan, don't tell me you really don't remember me? The instant he says it, the memories in my head start to scramble. Scene after scene flashes past a college dorm room, staying up all night gaming together, skipping class to drink together. Simon and I were so close we practically shared the same pair of pants. But here's the problem, this man in front of me is 40 years old. How could he possibly be my classmate? After a moment's thought, I raise my hand and smack him right on the forehead. Simon, you son of a gun, you're still not dead. Great, this is great. Simon clearly freezes, his expression turning strange. He never expected me to generate the bond of classmate with him, and this is exactly the most unpredictable of all the god worship abilities, bond of intimacy. This eerie power can tamper with a person's memories, forging a bond between two people on a spiritual level so convincing neither side can tell truth from illusion. What he doesn't know, though, is that in order to survive, even for the closest of brothers, I will never show mercy. You, Sly Dog, turns out you're Chanchin's uncle. Well, in that case, I guess it's not out of line for Chanchin to call me uncle, huh? And you two, Iron Lion, Ivy, remember to call me uncle from now on. Uncle? But the joke goes a little too far, Chanchin really will throw hands. So I quickly change the subject. You, dog, how are you still alive in wrong city? Aren't you afraid the oddities in the city will eat you? Afraid of what? I'm still standing today, all thanks to my god worship sequence. According to Simon, the god they worship is actually an oddity itself, one the congregation calls the Death God. Ever since gaining her protection, the Death God's church congregation has grown to over 70 members. Ethan, you all should join too. With your strength, I could make you all guardians. With the Death God's protection, you'd never have to keep running. Look at them, not the slightest bit afraid of the cold. Their physical condition far surpasses ordinary people's. Uncle Wu, we've got a lot of sick people back at camp. You must know the pharmacies around here well, right? Take us to find some medicine. We need to head back soon. Then Chanshin lays out the camp situation in full detail. In her mind, her own uncle wouldn't wish her any harm. But once Simon hears it all, a flicker of greed flashes through his eyes. After all, the god worship sequence runs on faith. The more believers he has, the stronger he becomes, and the deeper the protection his followers receive. He presses his lips together, then suddenly pulls from inside his robe a glass vial filled with red liquid. Tell you what, I'll give you a vial of the Death God's tears. Take it back, mix it with water, and everyone will recover. Faster than any medicine. Seeing the doubt on our faces, he pulls out another vial and walks over to a few weakened survivors. These are the ones who had most of their life force drained by the eight-limbed face earlier. Their faces ghostly pale now, too weak to even stand steady. Simon crouches down, gently feeding the liquid to each of them. Within seconds, color returns to their faces. They can even stand up on their own. Chanshin and Ivy can hardly believe their eyes. This can actually cure people? Simon smiles faintly, handing over the vial. Take this back, dilute it, and give it to them. They'll recover fast. Forget it, I'll just come back with you. Meanwhile, on the other side, Marcus waits anxiously back at camp. The number of sick people in the convoy keeps climbing. In just a single day, 5 more have frozen solid like ice sculptures. If not for his sequenced superhuman constitution, he probably wouldn't have held on either. If something goes wrong on our end, the whole convoy's lifeline gets cut off then and there. Fortunately, we don't make him wait long. When my doomsday rig rolls slowly out of the swirling snow, Marcus jumps to his feet almost by reflex, a spark of light flashing in his eyes. It's Ethan and Iron Lion. They're back. They're back. We're saved. The survivors at camp all cry out at once, overjoyed. For a moment we feel like heroes returning in triumph. We left with only 3 vehicles, we come back with 5. The convoy has gained a box truck and a large passenger bus. You're finally back. Did you find supplies? We found a down jacket store enough to keep everyone warm. Ivy pulls open the truck's back doors. Thick down jackets are piled up wall to wall. People rush to change into the warm clothing, as if they've glimpsed hope of survival again. As for the 5th vehicle, that's Ricky's prize, once a petty thief that everyone despised before the apocalypse, now suddenly a hero in everyone's eyes. What about medicine? Did you find any? Marcus still isn't at ease. Chanshin points to the mysterious man beside her, smiling. Captain, look who this is first. For a moment, Marcus is clearly stunned. You're Marcus? Take a good look. Who am I? Who is it? Marcus's voice cracks. That's right, it's me. You're still alive? God, I thought you were dead. Marcus's voice trembles, his eyes reddening. But something in me can't shake the feeling this reunion feels a little too perfectly convenient, and yet I can't point to a single thing wrong with it. The next moment, though, that doubt gets swept aside by a new thought. The god worship sequence, a mysterious power that draws strength directly from the death god herself. If I could really get close enough to study that death god, maybe I could use my smoke to replicate her power. I'd never once considered replicating an oddity before, but now the opportunity is right in front of me. I hear you've got quite a few sick people here. I brought medicine. Saving lives comes first. Right, saving lives comes first. As Simon speaks, he pulls out the red liquid and drips it into clean water. Trusting Simon completely, the survivors don't question where the medicine came from at all, and one by one, they drink the diluted liquid. The next second, survivors who moments ago were on death's door leap back to their feet almost instantly. Seeing this, I use the system to cast Identify on the liquid. Diluted Death God's Tears. Sword, the oddity known as the Death God. The Death God's tears carry unknown energy. For ordinary people, it can relieve or cure most illnesses. In concentrated form, the liquid can enhance the strength of sequence superhumans. I freeze. So this stuff doesn't just cure illness, it can even boost superhuman power. Simon, is this how you've all survived out here this whole time? Marcus, you know how it is, we could never stay put in one place for long. Marcus briefly lays out the convoy situation. After hearing it all, a flicker of excitement crosses Simon's eyes. Marcus, why don't we do this? Bring everyone back with me to settle in Wrong City. Why would we go into the city? The words have barely left his mouth before everyone's expression changes at once. Don't worry, I'm superhuman of the god worship sequence now. As high priest of the death god's church, we have divine protection. There's no danger. A god? You mean that oddity? You not understanding, that's fine. But from now on, you're not to call her an oddity. That's blasphemy. From the moment someone becomes a god worshipper, she can only be called God. Trusting Simon, we don't refuse outright after all. Settling safely into buildings in the city beats drifting out in the wilderness by a long shot. A few hours later, Simon invites us again to join the death god's church. My instincts stay on guard even for an old friend. I won't easily trust any organization. So Marcus and I decide to wait and watch first. Simon then climbs into Marcus's SUV, personally leading the convoy as we roll in force toward Wrong City. The Death God's Church's headquarters sits in an abandoned elementary school in Changwang district. By the time we arrive, dozens of robed figures already stand at the school gate. Our Lord above, welcome, fellow survivors, to the Death God's Church. But the moment Marcus steps out of the car, his entire body goes rigid, stretched to the breaking point. In his senses, deep within the school lurks a presence of pure, overwhelming dread. If Simon hadn't reassured him again and again, he'd have already turned around and run. This is the Death God's sacred ground. Wherever she is, there's no danger. But just as we're about to step through the gate, Marcus's pupils suddenly contract. On the doorframe, neon-colored letters flicker into view, but when Marcus turns his head, he's stunned to find that besides him, no one else can see the words. His stomach drops. That's a mark left by a Pathfinder, the Hidden Warden's secret sign, which means another Pathfinder has been here before. He begins scanning the area, searching for more clues. Simon notices something's off, but doesn't dwell on it. Right then, I step forward with a grin, throwing an arm around Simon's shoulders. Simon, look at you, the world ends, and you go and build yourself a little paradise. If I'd known, I'd have come running to you sooner. Ethan, don't you forget who I am. The title High Priest of the Death God's Church isn't for show. But with this many people watching, at least give me a little face here, alright? Seeing their high priest so warm toward me, the robed followers bow their heads in respect, mistaking us for something more than we are. And it's exactly that misunderstanding that later opens quite a few doors for me within the church. Soon, 2 rows of robed figures line up behind Simon. Let the presiding Reaper grant mercy and guide the lost souls. Simon's expression turns solemn now, like he's become an entirely different person. Marcus and I exchange a glance, and see the same flicker of unease reflected in each other's eyes. A moment later, Simon lays out a few things we need to know. 2 extremely powerful oddities exist within Changwang district. One is the 8-limbed face, and the other, they say, is even more terrifying. Outside Changwang District, it's practically a living hell. The words sound half like a reminder, half like a warning not to wander off. But the instant he finishes speaking, Marcus's pupils contract sharply again. On a crumbling old wall, he spots a second mark, and what fills him with even deeper dread is that in his senses, countless oddities are circling the edges of Changwang District, yet none of them dare take a single step inside. These strange signs, aside from Marcus, none of the other survivors can perceive at all. After all, they'd all give anything to stay here forever, treating this city under the Death God's protection as their final paradise. But not every ordinary person feels that way. Nathan among the crowd is the exception. He can't shake the feeling that something here is wrong. Meanwhile, Zoe somewhere in the crowd spots a familiar face. It's Grace Kui, a singer just as famous as her sister Lauren. Their eyes meet for a moment, and Grace visibly freezes, but quickly lowers her head, murmuring endless prayers. Once the welcome ceremony finally ends, Marcus, Iron Lion, and I are assigned a classroom on the 4th floor to rest. Come on, buddy, I'm on your turf now. Surely you're going to show me a little hospitality. What kind of hospitality you want? We're in the apocalypse, remember? But there is a ceremony tonight. You'll need to let the Death God commit your scent to memory. Her protection will keep the oddities off you. Especially you, Ethan, when you meet her tonight. Be respectful. Or neither of us gets to keep being brothers. Of course, do whatever you want here, just don't ever go up to the 5th floor. I watch his back as he walks away, an inexplicable tightness settling in my chest. In my memory, Simon was always the bold, loyal brother I knew, but now I can feel it clearly. He's not the same person anymore. Marcus's expression, meanwhile, grows even grimmer. His gaze drifts slowly to the blackboard, where 4 crooked words are scrawled in blood. Before we can even catch our breath, a group escorts us into the school's main hall. The Death God sits enthroned on a raised platform, and at her feet Simon kneels in devout reverence, murmuring prayers on and on for half an hour. Great Death God, these are friends of our church. We beg you to remember their scent, grant them your protection, and shield them from the corruption of the dark. Once the prayer ends, a terrifying pressure surges from the Death God's body, crushing down on us so hard we can barely breathe. Thankfully, the pressure only lasts a few seconds. Then, a massive dining table is carried up onto the platform. Simon walks up personally to stand beside the Death God, carefully slicing off a piece of bright red beef for her. Yes, my lord. The Death God slowly raises her hand and brings the meat to her mouth, chewing with crisp, deliberate bites. Half an hour later, from the Death God's crimson eyes, 2 lines of blood tears suddenly spill down. Simon immediately pulls out a glass vial, carefully catching the 2 falling tears. Then, with reverence on his face, he tucks the vial away. Watching the scene unfold, a surge of possessive hunger ignites inside me. Only after the Death God departs does Simon order his people to prepare a grand feast for us. Every survivor gets a fairly generous share of food. Taking advantage of the moment, Grace, from the God Worship congregation, quietly slips over to Zoe's side. Zoe, can I ask you for a favor? When you all leave, could you take me with you, please? That's not my call to make, but you could go ask him. Zoe points a finger gently in my direction. But my mind, right now, is full of a single question. Why does Simon keep dodging me every chance he gets? To get to the bottom of it, I walk over with a grin, throwing an arm around Simon's neck. Simon, why do you keep running the second you see me? Since when are we such strangers? Ethan, what exactly are you? What am I after? Simon, you dog, you're holding out on good stuff, and you won't even save a share for your buddy. That's not it at all. I don't have much of that stuff myself. Simon, remember back in class who always covered for you? As he listens, I keep rambling on about embarrassing college memories. Simon's expression slowly turns impatient. After all, he's got other things to attend to. In the end, he hands over 2 drops of the Death God's tears just to get rid of me since, in his eyes, none of us are going to live much longer anyway. System, upgrade death. God's tears enhance its potency for boosting sequence superhumans. Upgrade requires 5,000 kill points. Estimated time, 6 hours. Confirm? Confirm. With the chime of the system, a countdown appears on the surface of the transparent vial. 5:59:59. That night, Marcus, Iron Lion, and I return together to the 4th grade classroom. Iron Lion leans against the edge of a bed. Suddenly, unprompted, he starts telling his own story. He says he was born into an ordinary mining family. A few years later, both his parents passed away from illness, one after the other, leaving nothing but him and his younger siblings to fend for themselves, relying on one another. Fortunately, at the critical moment, his second uncle took the siblings in. Later, Iron Lion became a bus driver, and his younger siblings worked hard and got into university. Even though fate kept shattering this family again and again, that small thread of family bond was enough to carry them through to hope. But when he mentions caring for the family home in his parents' old age, something feels faintly off to me. No matter how hard I try to think it through, my mind slides right past the question on its own, so I just let it go entirely. Once the Death God's tears finish upgrading, after being purified by the system, it carries no side effects at all. It can significantly boost a low-level superhuman's strength and constitution, though long-term use builds up drug resistance. But trusting the system completely, I don't hesitate. I drip the tears straight into my mouth. In an instant, a powerful surge of energy floods through my body, unrelenting. I quickly activate the blood moon breathing method, and the energy of the death god's tears begins to be slowly absorbed into my body. The next morning, I open my eyes and exhale a long stream of smoke. The smoke curls and twists in the air, forming itself into several ghostly wolves. At this rate of growth, if I can get a bit more of the death god's tears, I might be able to jump straight to sequence 2. Just as I'm lost in the sensation of this newfound power, a shrill, agonized scream cuts through the distance. I instinctively grip the cleaver beside me and rush straight to the school gate. A large crowd is already gathered at the gate, but Simon is nowhere to be seen. Marcus and I push through the crowd, and there in the snow lies a young man with both eyes gouged out. What the hell happened here? It's Charlie! Charlie's eyes have been dug out! In a world like this, losing both eyes is basically a death sentence. It was the Abyssal Blood Eye. There are 2 oddities total in Changwon District. One is the 8-limbed face you've already seen, and the other is the Abyssal Blood Eye. Its favorite thing is gouging out eyes. It's horrifying. Why are you telling us all this? My name is Grace Kui. If you're ever able to leave this place, please take me with you. Thank you. With that, genuine terror washes over Grace's face. I grab the nearest robed follower by the collar. Didn't Simon say we'd be safe here? Then where is he? The robed man opens his mouth to snap back at me, but the moment he sees my face clearly, his tone flips to instant deference. The high priest is reciting scripture. Something this serious happens and he doesn't even show his face? It's forbidden. The high priest recites scripture for 2 hours every morning without fail, and no one is allowed to disturb him. Please, I'm begging you, let me go, otherwise someone's going to die. By now, I've already realized this place probably isn't safe anymore. We need to get out while we still can. What is that? Everyone follows the direction of his outstretched hand, and see a single eyeball floating alone in midair, as if watching us. The moment the eyeball realizes it's been spotted, it spins around and tries to bolt away, but Marcus catches it instantly in a small cloth sack. Faced with this eerie sight, none of us dares to make a rash move. All we can do is wait for Simon to appear before deciding anything. Back in the 4th grade classroom, Marcus's expression is graver than I've ever seen it. After all, the Oddity's emergence is shattering everyone's previous understanding of the world. They're no longer bound by daylight anymore. From the man-faced scorpion to the headless killer snakes, every single attack points to the same truth: the Oddities are growing stronger at an alarming rate. Humanity has nowhere left to retreat. So we can't afford to lose any more people. Marcus, why are the Oddities acting so completely unrestrained now? Do we really have no hope left? The reason they're growing stronger might be tied to the Blood Moon's rising power, or a deepening fusion with the other realm. And the Blood Moon's influence has spread even into daylight hours now, letting the Oddities adapt to this new environment. Humanity's living space keeps shrinking. Ivy had originally hoped to grow potatoes at the school, to give everyone a fighting chance at survival. But after what just happened, this so-called safe zone might not stay safe much longer. Marcus stares at that chilling line of words on the blackboard, realizing that the calm here is being broken apart by their own growing numbers. The more people gather, the more oddities they draw. Just as everyone spirals into panic, Simon of the Death God's Church suddenly appears with a smile on his face. Would you all be willing to join the Death God's Church? Simon, if you hadn't shown up soon, I was about to come find you myself. Marcus just caught an eyeball floating around. Take a look at this. Without a word, Marcus pulls the eyeball out of the cloth sack and recounts everything that happened this morning. Once Simon hears it all, he reaches out and crushes the eyeball in his hand. This must be one of the Abyssal Blood Eye's violet eyes. Through its violet eyes, the Abyssal Blood Eye can see everything around it. Every oddity in Changwon District is dangerous. Right now, this school is the only safe place there is. Stay put, all of you. Don't wander off. I'll pray to the Death God about this. I'm confident those heretics will be dealt with soon. After lunch, Marcus and Bao find an empty classroom to talk privately. Bao, are you saying some people want to join the church right away? That's right, Marcus. Some of them see a chance to finally settle down here, and it's tempting them. Then keep them calm for now. Don't let them act on impulse. Let's wait a few more days and see. When are we leaving? Everyone wants to stay. Why do you insist on leaving? This place just feels wrong to me. Like something could happen at any moment. A pang of regret rises in Marcus's chest. Bringing everyone here might have been a mistake from the start. In his senses, some of the presences here rival even the Death God's own aura. If those heretics ever truly turn on them, someone in the convoy could pay the price. Bao, spend the next couple of days gathering as many supplies as you can. Find out where the nearest gas stations are, scout it out carefully for me, don't alarm anyone else. Meanwhile, I head to Simon's office and get straight to the point. From the very start, you've wanted us to join the church, haven't you? Anyone with eyes can tell something's off about this, but hey, you and I go way back, I can smooth this over for you. Only thing is, Marcus is a suspicious guy. I'm sure he's already got doubts about everything you've said. Ethan, what exactly do you want? Stop playing games with me. First, give me a deputy high priest title, just for fun. Then give me 100 drops of the Death God's tears. The whole joining the church issue, I'll handle it for you. You think the Death God's tears are just something you can have as much of as you want? Get out. There's no place for you here. Don't be so hasty. Besides, it's not just me who wants the death god's tears, the others deserve a cut too. Otherwise, why would we sequence superhumans agree to just walk into your death god's church and let you order us around? After a round of back and forth negotiation, in the end, I walk away with 10 vials of the death god's tears from Simon, more than enough to push me straight up to sequence 2 soon. The price is that I help him win everyone else over. Everything is unfolding exactly the way I want it to. But as I step out into the hallway, Marcus's punchable grin suddenly appears right in front of me. Boss Chen, look at you smiling like that must have made off pretty well, huh? Marcus, what are you doing here? Nothing much, just wondering if Boss Chen wants to throw his old buddy a little taste of the profits. Marcus, here's a deal, you in or not? What kind of deal? I lay out the whole arrangement with Simon, word for word, exactly as it happened. Simon gave me 4 undiluted vials of the death god's tears. Let's split the work, you keep the survivors calm and stop them from rushing into the church too fast. I'll handle Simon, deal? Marcus considers it for a moment, clearly tempted. He might not fully grasp what the death god's tears actually do, but he knows that stuff can buy supplies, it's hard currency, no question. I don't buy it. Simon only gave you 4 vials? We're in the same convoy, don't tell me you don't trust me. That old fox Simon only coughing up 4 vials already had to do with the relationship between him and me. As I speak, I pull 4 small glass vials from inside my jacket, the liquid inside them shimmering with an eerie glow. Marcus, this is the real deal, use it carefully. I know that, you don't need to tell me. With that, I'm just about to turn and walk away when Marcus suddenly calls out to stop me. Ethan, wait, remember what I told you about the Pathfinder Sequence 2 mark ability? I remember. I've seen 3 marks left by other Pathfinders now, only I can see them. And even stranger, every single classroom's blackboard has strange words scrawled across it. The reason he's telling me this is because I'm cold and selfish enough not to trust anyone easily. If Iron Lion and the others found out about this, they'd likely go straight to Simon with it. After all, in this world, anyone who dares stand between me and survival is my enemy, plain and simple. Just then, a piercing scream shatters the school's dead silence, because in the 3rd grade classroom, Charlie's body hangs from the ceiling fan, just like that. Soon, a few survivors, led by Bao, dig a shallow pit and hastily bury Charlie's body. This is the apocalypse, no ceremony, no mourning. A man who lost both his eyes never stood a chance in a world like this. But none of that concerns me right now because I've just noticed a church follower, face lit with excitement, climbing up to the 5th floor. The 5th floor stairwell is sealed tight with black cloth. I watch the robed figure's back disappear through the cloth, but a long while passes, and the man never comes back down. I force down my curiosity and don't follow after all. In the apocalypse, curiosity is often more deadly than the oddities themselves. So I find a quiet, empty spot and upgrade the death god's tears again. Then, while there's still time, I slip out to the school's playground, where several SUVs used by the church members are parked. So I get to work stripping every usable part off of them. The church members watch me tear apart their vehicles, glaring daggers at me one after another, but held back by my relationship with Simon, none of them dares to step forward. I even call Nathan over to help. The 2 of us work in tandem, clean and efficient. Hey Ethan, this is a little shameless, don't you think? There are plenty of cars outside the school, why fixate on these ones right here? Marcus, you know exactly what it's like out there. Going out for a joyride is basically suicide. I'm heading out tomorrow morning to scout for fuel and supplies, you in? So planning to leave for good? Not long after though, word of me stripping the vehicles somehow makes it back to Simon. Standing on the 4th floor, Simon looks down at the playground, his face unreadable. If he wants to strip them, let him. As long as he doesn't push it too far, don't provoke a conflict with them for now. Understood. But High Priest, there's one more thing. They say they're heading out tomorrow to gather supplies. I suspect they might be planning to leave here for good. What should we do? Don't bother with them, let them go. We've still got a month's worth of supplies. Just wait it out a little longer. Never mind, go on, get back down there. Right now, all of Wrong City is surrounded by oddities, even Simon himself has no way to leave. So he looks out at the playground, a shadow of resentment flickering through his eyes. After all, the vehicle I just stripped happened to be his own. Soon my truck has 4 studded snow tires bolted on, and Marcus starts fitting his own vehicle the same way. By the time it's all finished, the blood moon has quietly risen. Ever since mastering the blood moon breathing method, my right eye can pick out countless ghostly shapes in the darkness, shapes that watch me back from the shadows. Every now and then, I can even hear the faint sound of drool dripping onto the snow. When I get back to the dorm room, Marcus is sneaking back in from outside, all secretive about it. We exchange a knowing look, a silent understanding passing between us. The next morning, as I stand in front of the school gate scanning the crowd, I find only 5 survivors willing to come along. There's Zoe, Nathan, Big Gao, and a pair of survivor brothers. Ever since Nathan got disfigured, he's cared a lot less about whether he lives or dies. As for the 4 brothers, who originally came from Deer City, after I took down 2 of them, Big Gao and Ricky have both been perfectly well behaved ever since. The longer people enjoy a comfortable life, the easier it is for some of them to forget the danger outside. It's fine if they don't want to come. They don't have to. Everyone's got their own path to walk. Besides, there's food and water here at the school. Why would anyone volunteer to go looking for death? As camp leader, Marcus's words ring true. The food the Death God's church provides isn't great, but at least it's enough to keep everyone from starving. That's exactly why nobody wants to risk going out. Today's main goal is fuel collection, with any extra supplies just a bonus. Iron Lion doesn't let Lee drive that old rickety school bus. Instead, Ivy takes the wheel of the box truck. Zoe drives his usual luxury sedan as always, just with anti-slip chains wrapped around the tires now. Big Gao borrows Ricky's passenger bus, fitting it with metal chains on the tires as well. Nathan and the two brothers all ride along in that bus. Everyone, this supply run is extremely dangerous. You all know what it's like out there. Even though it's daytime, don't let your guard down for a second. According to the Death God's Church's intel, there's not much left near the second elementary school, so this time we'll need to push further out. If conditions allow, grab extra supplies along the way too. And whatever you do, don't fall behind the group. Good luck out there, everyone. With that, he steps aside from the gate, seeing us off. This time, Bao chooses not to come along after all. He's getting on in years, and surviving in this freezing apocalypse is already hard enough as it is. Following last night's plan, we take turns leading the convoy today. Ethan, how's it looking up ahead? Not great, but there's a way through. Alright, it's on you then. Half an hour later, Iron Lion swaps to lead, then Ivy, then Qianqian. No problem. Oh, and Captain, Ethan, you two have been acting strange these past few days. Especially you, Ethan. I'm warning you, that's my uncle. If you try anything, I won't let you off easy. Qianqian, do I look like that kind of person to you? He's your uncle, and he's my brother too. Besides, I'm technically your uncle now too. Is that really how you talk to your elders? The radio goes silent for a few seconds, leaving nothing but static. I stare at the thick snow ahead, then breathe out a heavy burst of smoke. The smoke quickly turns the snow to slush, clearing the thick drifts off to the side of the road. Half an hour later, it's Iron Lion's turn to lead. He hops right out of the vehicle. I assume he's going to relieve himself, but the next second, both his arms transform into cannons. 2 blasts of compressed air blow a clear path straight through the snow ahead. When it's Qianqian's turn to lead, she summons her blazing red flying sword. The artifact, numbered in the 3000s, hovers steady in front of the lead vehicle. Wherever it passes, ice and snow instantly turn to steam. A little over 10 minutes later, the convoy pulls up in front of a gas station. I grip the vengeance cleaver tight at my side, 7 smoke-formed wolves circling around us. Everyone quickly falls into their assigned roles, some siphon fuel, others haul the barrels, and even Zoe gets put to work like everyone else, no exceptions. Marcus, we're done! Qianqian's shout rings out, and everyone, including Big Gao, breathes a collective sigh of relief. But the very next second, Marcus's expression suddenly darkens. Get in the cars, now! I've seen that look on Marcus's face before every single time. It's meant someone's about to die. So everyone bolts back into the vehicles immediately. In this convoy, if never fall behind is rule number 1, then reading Marcus's expression is never something you get wrong. With the school just a kilometer away, everyone can't help but let their guard down a little. Zoe even puts some music on. Marcus's face, though, keeps getting darker and darker. Nathan's panicked voice crackles over the radio. Marcus, Ethan, look, is that a person lying face down in the snow over there? They're here and there's a lot of them. Everyone do whatever it takes to survive. The radio falls into dead silence. I take a sharp breath of freezing air, and the smoke I exhale wraps around the entire SUV. In the next instant, I trigger driving mastery, slam the gas to the floor, and the truck kicks up a massive cloud of snow, tearing down the main road at full speed. Along the street right now, crouched on rooftop after rooftop of the apartment buildings, lie humanoid monsters, one after another. Their bodies are all deathly white and massive in size. Even more terrifying, these same pale white figures aren't just on the rooftops. From the sewers underground to the shopping malls and supermarkets along the street, anywhere humans once gathered has now become a nest for these creatures. The whole scene looks like a zombie movie playing out in real life. These are crawlers. The church members told me these creatures are Wrong City's original residents. All of them residents? Then there could be a million oddities out here. No matter what, everyone, stay alive. I immediately floor the accelerator, surging to the very front of the convoy. Ethan, you bastard! Minnow, hurry, get past him! Qianqian's furious shout rings out behind me. But the instant her words leave her mouth, a white shape drops from the sky, lunging straight at my doomsday rig. I wrench the wheel hard, the truck grazing past its massive body as it tears forward. Thanks to the doomsday rig's special build, I whip the vehicle side to side, dodging past several creatures blocking the road. But Qianqian, following behind, isn't so lucky. The crawlers I've just shaken off all turn and swarm toward her SUV instead. If her car gets forced to a stop by the oddities, the consequences don't bear thinking about. Qianqian watches my taillights pull further and further away, takes a deep breath, and vaults nimbly out through the window. Minnow, hold the wheel steady! Before the words are even finished, Qianqian is already standing beneath the moving car, blade in hand. A blade of energy condenses into fire, a dragon of flame, that instantly swallows the white crawlers around her, burning them down to charred husks. But even so, the real danger is far from over. The fire dragon holds the creatures back for a moment, but only a moment later, the white crawlers surge forward again like a rising tide. With no other choice, I exhale a massive cloud of smoke. The next second, over a dozen smoke-formed wolves tear straight into battle with the crawlers. The terrifying thing about smoke replication is this. As long as I'm still alive, these wolves will keep coming, endless and unrelenting. I even replicate the man-faced scorpion's massive pincers, slicing crawlers clean in half with ease. Within just a few minutes, the pressure on the convoy eases dramatically. Unfortunately, the trouble is far from over. On the other side, Iron Lion and Ivy's truck has been surrounded too. Iron Lion roars and leaps down, his fists, huge as sandbags, slamming down hard, blasting crawlers into sprays of blood in an instant. His twin skull Titan form erupts fully into action. Under the power of Titan Sequence 2, these frenzied crawlers don't stand a chance. Ha! Now that's satisfying. So good not enough, bring on more. Out of control now, Iron Lion doesn't retreat. He pushes forward, charging straight into the thickest cluster of crawlers. As for Marcus, he tucks his own vehicle inside the defensive ring we formed, making it, for now, the safest car in the whole convoy. But the danger quickly shifts to the passenger bus. At the critical moment, a crawler forces its way into the cabin, seizing the older of the two brothers and dragging him bodily out of the vehicle. The next second, more than a dozen crawlers swarm on top of him at once. His younger brother, watching in fury as the crawlers tear into him, rushes out of the vehicle on instinct to try to save him, only to be seized by two crawlers, their teeth locked around his throat. I grip the steering wheel tight, a cold dread washing through me because less than 300 meters ahead lies the school gate. I think we're finally safe. But right then, a massive eyeball hovers above the school gate. The instant our eyes meet, I feel like my own eyes are being sucked right out of my skull. I quickly summon smoke to block its line of sight. But that leaves me with a problem. I'm basically driving blind now. Screw it. I switch the Doomsday rig straight into RAM mode. The truck seems to sense my intent, and it charges straight at the floating dark red eye. Simon is standing at a fourth-floor window. He watches, stunned, as the truck goes berserk, slamming straight into the giant eye. Cold sweat breaks out across his back instantly. He knows exactly how dangerous that eye is. Ethan, you idiot, you've got a death wish. That's not concern for me talking. He's just afraid my death will ruin his plans. But the next second, the disaster he's expecting doesn't happen. The Doomsday rig actually knocks the eye flying, and it flies straight toward the fourth-floor office. How is that possible? Ethan, you did that on purpose, didn't you? The huge eye smashes clean through the fourth-floor wall. Simon starts chanting rapidly. In an instant, the Death God's figure appears before him and clamps the blood eye in an iron grip. At the same moment, our vehicles come crashing through the school gate. The white crawlers freeze like they've met a natural predator, all stopping dead at the entrance, not daring to take another step. As the Reapers murmur their heavy prayers, the blood eye instantly wrenches free, drifting out over the school field. Simon immediately chases it down from the fourth floor. Blood eye, you've gone too far. But the words are barely out of his mouth when the eight-limbed face drifts in slowly from the ruins on the other side. Simon, your Death God's church has so many living souls. Can you really finish them all off alone? Old Sean, don't tell me you've forgotten that scar from before. Even the Snow Maiden and the others have shown up. We just want to see exactly how much your Death God's church really has left. He's right about one thing. The moment the Death God shows a hint of weakness, it'll be the end for every one of us. Right as the two sides stand on the edge of all-out war, I pull out a fully charged phone. Time to catch the Death God's fight on camera. Marcus, who do you think wins this one? Hard to say. But this clash is probably just testing the waters. Neither Simon nor those oddities are going all in yet. But once this is over, a real war is probably coming. We need to be ready. Deep down, I agree with Marcus completely. After all, the oddities won't just walk away from over 100 lives. And as for Simon, I still don't know his real endgame. But judging by what I just heard, this old friend of mine has clearly gone down a road there's no coming back from. If I don't plan ahead, he'll probably devour me too, sooner or later. Thinking about it, the guilt I still feel about what I'm planning to do starts to fade away. What happens next opens my eyes completely. The blood eye seems to wield some kind of mind control. It keeps pulsing out these eerie waves, and the white crawlers around the school look completely puppeted, charging into battle for it. Even more insane, even our own survivors are affected. Their eyes stay clear, but their bodies won't obey them at all. By comparison, the superhumans are barely touched by it. They stabilize the situation fast, forcibly restraining the possessed survivors. Amid all this chaos and despair, Simon keeps chanting the Death God scripture, and as his voice echoes on, the Death God's figure appears before him. With one light wave of its hand, countless crawlers trying to force their way into the school are instantly obliterated. But watching this, the Death God looks less like a god, and more like Simon's enforcer. This god worship sequence is something else. As the Death God keeps blasting crawlers away, the giant blood eye suddenly flares blood red all over. A blast of searing heat rolls out over us. The Death God seems to sense the danger too, instantly locking into the clash of power. As towering flames rage out of control, the ground melts into scorching molten rock. Thankfully, we'd parked the vehicles by the school wall ahead of time. But the Reapers who stray too close to the flames don't even get a chance to scream. They're reduced to ash in an instant. Lucky for us, it's the Death God facing the Blood Eye. Only then do I realize the Blood Eye's mind control seems to have no effect on the Death God. So it turns on Simon instead, trying to hit him with some strange power. But Simon's eyes stay shut the whole time. Then, the next second, he snaps them open. Abyssal Blood Eye, How about you take a good look at my eyes instead? Instinctively, the blood eye's gaze lifts to meet his. And in that instant, Simon's eyes suddenly overflow with mercy. I only glance at it once, and every ounce of kindness in my heart gets amplified 1,000-fold. Memory after memory floods back. Like the moment I failed to save Zoe's sister. I regret it so deeply. If I could go back, I'd save her, no question. Thinking about it, tears are already streaming down my face. Marcus, I'm not a good man. Simon gave me 10 vials of the tears, and I only told you about 4. And Qianqian, I admit I only chased after you for your body. I'm a player. I'm scum. I deserve this. And Iron Lion, I always laughed at you for being slow, knowing full well you weren't quick, and I still picked on you for it. On the other side, Marcus is in an even worse state. Ethan, I'm sorry too. Every night I've been using the eavesdropping radio to spy on your secrets. Qianqian, that thing between you and Ethan, I'm the one who spread it around the convoy. I'm such a blabbermouth. 2 really shouldn't have. Iron Lion, I called you a dog brain. I'm sorry to you, and sorry to actual dogs too. Compared to how wrecked Marcus and I are, everyone else barely reacts at all. Iron Lion and Ivy, for instance, when they look at the blood eye, they just find it plain unsettling. Qianqian, though, is different. Fury burns in her eyes. She's clearly furious beyond words. By the time Marcus and I snap out of the guilt, the battle has already reached its peak. Under the open sky, the Death God and the Blood Eye clash with wild force, each impact warping the very air around them. But the outcome is decided fast. The Blood Eye is simply no match for the Death God. The blood-red blade flashes with an eerie light, and across the surface of the eye, it carves a deep, bleeding gash. In a single instant, the once massive eye starts shrinking rapidly until it's the size of a human eye, and drops to the ground. Staring at the eye, still faintly glowing with a ghostly light, a strange urge rises in me. After all, as my power grows, my left eye keeps getting worse. Maybe the blood eye could replace it. But before I can even use the system to appraise it, Simon beats me to it. He reaches down, snatches the eye, and pockets it. The 8-limbed face retreats from the school fast, and the snow maiden off in the corner pulls her crawlers back one by one and leaves as well. Marcus, you think they'll be back? They will. There'll be a reckoning eventually. You two done putting on a show? Did you really think we didn't hear everything you said? And you, Ethan, don't flatter yourself. I'll say it again. I'm the one who used you. I'm the heartbreaker here, not you. You wanted to play the player? Amateur. Furious, Qianqian draws her sword. Luckily, Iron Lion steps in to smooth things over, keeping the conflict from escalating further. Iron Lion, are you stupid? They insult you and you still take their side? I think what they said was true. Telling the truth isn't wrong. You just keep getting dumber, don't you? After this battle, every survivor is left with a lasting impression, especially the moment Simon opened his eyes. Something about it still feels off to me. But the Death God's deterrent effect only lasts 2 days before the situation at the school takes a turn for the worse. Day and night, countless oddities prowl around the school's perimeter, as if waiting for a signal, ready to strike again. To prevent any incidents, Simon issues a strict order: no member of the Death God's church is allowed outside. Bao warns the other survivors the same way, telling everyone to stay put in the classrooms. But the survivors don't exactly stay calm. Some church members believe our convoy is what brought this disaster down on them. Several clashes break out between the two sides. Thankfully, the superhumans step in to keep order, stopping things from spiraling out of control. To his credit, Simon plays it fair, personally beating a few troublemakers into submission. After that, no one dares to act out again. Ever since they got back from outside, Big Gao, Nathan, and Zoe have been handed a good haul of fuel and supplies. Zoe's luck, though, hasn't been great. The little car that stuck with her for days has already been wrecked by the Abyssal Blood Eye's psychic pulses, turned into a pile of scrap. Somehow, though, she works some kind of magic, getting Ricky to personally teach her how to fix cars. I've caught her trailing after Ricky more than once, circling a vehicle, learning the ropes. Compared to what they've gained, right now my system has racked up 37,000 kill points. Without hesitation, I purify 2 vials of the Death God's tears. To prepare for whatever's coming, I also upgrade the Doomsday rig, fitting the hood and roof with auxiliary lights, making it much easier to make a run for it at night. I also keep pulling out my phone, rewatching the footage of the Death God fighting the Abyssal Blood Eye, over and over. For now, I can only crudely mimic the Death God's presence. For that reason, I ask Simon to let me pay respects to the Death God in person. He shuts me down without a second thought, but mimicking its form isn't all I care about. What matters more is the Abyssal Blood Eye he's holding onto. So I head to Simon's office again. He wants everyone to join the Death God's church. I just want that eye, which finally gives us something to bargain with. Ethan, you took 10 vials of the tears from me last time. What about what you promised me? I pull a sheet of paper from inside my jacket, packed with survivors' names. Don't say I'm not looking out for you. These are applications to join the Death God's church. Out of our whole convoy, half of them already want to join your church. So how about it? I won't take from you for nothing. Seeing the list packed with names, a thin smile finally tugs at Simon's mouth. To get my hands on the Abyssal Blood Eye Simon's holding, I've turned every survivor in our convoy into nothing but a bargaining chip. Hearing this, a vein throbs at Simon's temple. What do you want? I'll say it straight since you're being sincere, so I won't hide it either. After you killed that abyssal blood eye, the eye it left behind, shouldn't it come back to me? Ethan, I've never met anyone as shameless as you. If you hadn't stirred things up on purpose, the death god never would have fought the abyssal blood eye at all. He gets angrier the more he talks, spit flying in my face. I take a step back, resigned. Simon, relax. Just one question. If you want the rest of the convoy to all join the church, you'll have to pay a price. Fine, I'll give you the eye, but I want every member's file, and I want your word they'll all join the church. On the surface, I strike the deal with him. The next moment, I start spilling everything about my teammates. Of course, I don't tell him everything. Marcus's marking ability, for instance, I quietly leave out the key details. Simon isn't stupid either. He cross-checks it against the intel his people have gathered over the past few days, and only then does he toss the abyssal blood eye into my hand. His thinking is simple enough. Once we're all dead, this thing comes back to him eventually anyway. But just then, the moment I step out of Simon's office, Marcus is standing there with a mocking smirk. Didn't you say Simon only gave you 4 vials? Going to see him too? Marcus ignores me completely, pushing straight through the door of classroom 4-1. When he comes back out, he's holding 3 vials of the tears. Carrying them, he heads into a classroom. Bao's coughing echoes from inside. Marcus, you came. Bao used to have a happy family, including a 3-year-old grandson. But when the apocalypse hit, he watched his loved ones die in front of him one by one. In just a few days, his hair turned white overnight. He aged years in that time. After arriving in wrong city, the brutal cold only made his health deteriorate further. Bao, stay lying down. Don't get up. I got these tears from Simon, the undiluted kind. It might help with your condition. Marcus, did you promise Simon something? Anything? Bao, you're overthinking. Marcus, you're a superhuman. You know exactly what's going on. I won't say more. Bao, just focus on getting better. Once you're well again, I'll get you out of here. Marcus feeds Bao a single drop of the tears. But this one drop only buys him a little more time. Standing nearby, the convoy's assistant Will watches it all, his eyes full of grief. Will, go tell everyone they're free to join the Death God's church. How can we do that? No more questions. Just do as I say. Meanwhile, I slip into an empty classroom and immediately pull out the blood eye to appraise it. Appraisal will cost 1,500 kill points. Confirm, confirm, confirmed. Item, abyssal blood eye. This eye belonged to one of the 3 great oddities of Changwang district, Wrong City. The abyssal blood eye and retains part of its immense power. It still holds a fraction of that creature's power. With a skilled artifact crafter, this eye can be forged into an artifact, unlocking the full power sealed within it. During its clash with the Death God, the abyssal blood eye never fully unleashed its power. That makes this eye an extremely rare crafting material. In theory, it can be used to craft an artifact numbered under 1,000, but it also carries a risk of serious side effects. Handle with extreme caution. A friendly reminder, should anyone use this eye to replace a blind left eye, extreme caution is required. System, how exactly do I replace my left eye with the abyssal blood eye? Option 1. Pay 500,000 kill points to the system for a full upgrade of the abyssal blood eye. Once complete, the eye will gain self-parasitic ability and can complete the replacement on its own. Option 2. Find a qualified surgeon to surgically remove the left eye, then implant the abyssal blood eye in its place. Afterward, use the blood moon breathing method to align the resonance frequency, allowing the eye to gradually merge with the body, eventually unlocking part of its Chao Fan power. For a detailed guide on option 2, a payment of 1,000 kill points is required. I pay the 1,000 kill points on the spot and redeem the guide. Put simply, I need someone who knows surgery to gouge out my left eye, then implant the abyssal blood eye in its place. The process will be excruciating. Even if the surgery succeeds, I'll only be able to access part of the eye's power at first. Only once my body fully accepts it will I truly become its symbiont. After reading through the guide, I'm honestly a little stunned. A doctor's easy enough to find, but the problem is, this is the apocalypse. How can I trust a total stranger to hold a blade to my eye? Just imagining it leaves me caught in deep hesitation. The next morning, the whole atmosphere at the base has shifted. Except for Marcus and me, almost everyone has become a member of the Death God's church. Iron Lion and the other 2 are already deputy high priests. Word is, in 3 days, Simon plans to hold a grand ritual in the school auditorium. Yeah, Marcus, Ethan, you 2 didn't get the notice? Marcus and I exchange a glance, and I can see the unease reflected in both our eyes. Oh right, the whole school's joined the church now. You 2 might as well join too. And this ritual is a big deal. My uncle says, the Death God's holy water will descend. Once you drink it, you'll stop feeling the cold just like the rest of us, and your strength will grow too. Chanchin, this is a huge decision. At least give us some time to think it over. Once we send Xianqin off, Marcus and I fall silent for a moment. We both know exactly what this means. Simon is finally making his move. We still don't know his real endgame, but if this ritual goes through, neither of us is walking away in one piece. So to boost my strength as fast as possible, I go find Lena first and get straight to the point. Inside the church, is there a doctor? Do you know if they have family here, or where they might be hiding? After hearing me out, Lena immediately reaches out to an ordinary church member. His name is Dr. Tao Luo. Before the apocalypse, he was a lead surgeon at a top hospital in Wrong City. Back then, his family was happy, his career stable, and his ethics and reputation were both spotless. But then the apocalypse hit, and everything changed. Trying to get his family out of Wrong City, Dr. Luo joined a convoy. But they hadn't gotten far before the Death God's church stopped them, dragging the whole group to Second Elementary. He thought his surgical skills would be valuable in this new world. But it turns out the church has some miracle serum of its own, drink it, and any ordinary ailment fades away fast. His skills have been useless ever since. But who could have guessed today his wife Vivian comes back with shocking news. Tao, a sequenced superhuman wants you to perform surgery. The payment's a 30-liter drum of gasoline. Dr. Luo freezes on the spot. A whole drum of gasoline. Vivian, are you serious? Would I lie to you? Lena, that vixen told me herself. She came looking for me specifically. The moment I get the abyssal blood eye from Simon, the very first thing I do is have Lena track down a surgeon. Soon, Dr. Luo and his wife are led to a private classroom. Mr. Chen, you want to operate here? You've seen the situation. Finding even this much is a win already. Dr. Luo shakes his head at once, refusing outright. This place has none of the conditions surgery requires. But the moment he refuses, Iron Lion standing nearby grabs his wife and pins her. Mr. Chen, Simon, what are you doing? Let go of my wife. Doctor, all you have to do is do the surgery well, and you and your wife stay safe. In fact, I'll pay you everything I promised in full. Doctor, I never break my word. Cooperate, and this only benefits you. Watching my expression turn colder by the second, Dr. Luo finally gives in. I write out the eye replacement procedure for him, but once he reads through it, he grows visibly more shaken. The contents are far beyond anything a surgeon would know. But knowing I'm a superhuman, Dr. Luo has no choice but to grit his teeth and get to work. To make sure he doesn't try anything, I keep my cleaver hovering behind his head. The second he tries anything against me, this blade becomes the weapon that ends him. Lena stands off to the side, wiping the sweat from Dr. Luo's brow the whole time. The surgery lasts a full 5 hours. By the time it's over, Dr. Luo nearly collapses on the floor. After that, Lena volunteers to take care of me. For her, this is a chance she's been waiting for. But I don't give her any opening to get close, and send them both out of the classroom. Then I take the purified Death God's tears and start channeling my own superhuman power to activate the eye. A day later, I finally open both eyes. I focus my left eye on a pack of tissues on the desk. The next instant, it bursts into flame on its own. This is the same power the blood eye once used against the Death God. It's nowhere near as strong as the original abyssal blood eye was, but for now, it's more than enough for me. But the moment I step out of the classroom, the entire school is wrapped in an indescribably eerie atmosphere. Every member of the church is buzzing with excitement, all counting down to the New Year's Eve ritual. What unsettles me even more as night falls, swarms of indescribable ghostly shapes gather around the school. Yet the survivors don't seem alarmed at all. Only Grace, a church member, grows more and more panicked. Before long, she seeks out Nathan. Grace, you were looking for me? Nathan, give this notebook to Marcus and Ethan. Please don't forget. She hurries off without another word. Nathan, expression calm, tucks the notebook quietly into his jacket. Nathan, where are you headed? Nowhere important. Just going to see Ethan. Hey, you should talk some sense into Ethan and Marcus. Everyone here belongs to the church now. Those two holding out alone, what's even the point? Look at us, we've got food and water covered. Once the Death God clears out everything outside, all that filth will be long gone. Before he can finish, Nathan drives a hard kick into the man's gut. Who do you think you are? Ethan and Marcus's. You think you can talk trash about them behind their backs? If it weren't for them, you'd all be dead already. As other survivors, hearing the commotion, move in to see what's going on, by then, Nathan has already slipped into classroom 4-3 with the notebook. Without a single unnecessary word, he respectfully hands the notebook to me. Marcus notices right away. The moment I flip open the first page, the very first line reads, Sherry is dead. According to the notebook, on April 7th, Grace, Sherry, and Chiang Wu fled to this school along with a group of survivors. To save his own life, Chiang Wu shoves Sherry, who'd been fleeing with him, straight toward one of the shadowy horrors. Sherry died, torn apart in the octopus thing's tentacles. Reading this, Marcus and I trade a look. We both already suspect the truth. The Chiang Wu in this diary is very likely the same man now known as Simon. And Sherry is the very sister Nathan has been searching for all along. Reading this entry, a wave of dread washes over me. I've spent enough time with Nathan to know exactly what he sacrificed searching for his sister. Weighed down, we keep reading. In under 3 days, according to the notebook, huge numbers of survivors here were dragged off by oddities. During that time, Grace saw a woman clad entirely in white, surrounded by a swarm of crawlers. By day 5, memories not her own began surfacing in Grace's mind. It turned out Chiang Wu wasn't just a graduate of a top domestic university, he'd also run a major tech company. With a personal fortune already worth over 100 million. At some point, he gave himself a new name, Simon Wu. Even more absurd, by day 7, Simon somehow retrieved Sherry's body and brought it back into the classroom. He set up incense and candles beside it, bowing to it 3 times a day. kowtowing 9 times each. In the diary, Grace described how Sherry lay there, somehow more beautiful in death than she'd ever been alive. Not long after, Simon began forming the Death God's church. Every day he went into the room where Sherry's body lay and chanted scripture. Once when someone dared to object and tried to interrupt him mid-chant, Simon nearly beat the man to death for it. The most shocking part, whenever a church member was near death from illness, Simon would give them a red liquid to drink, and the person would recover as if nothing had ever been wrong. On April 15th, Grace stumbled upon something Simon feeding human flesh to Sherry's corpse, and from Sherry's eyes, blood-red tears slowly began to fall. From that moment on, Grace finally understood Simon was no longer anything close to a normal human being, and she had to find a way to escape this place. The diary ends there, cut off abruptly. Once I finish reading, a chill runs down my spine. I never could have imagined the Death God is actually Nathan's own sister. That strange, otherworldly quality about her makes total sense. No wonder Nathan never recognized her. Right as I'm lost in thought, Marcus notices something unexpected, an unfamiliar letter lying on the floor. We tear it open, and its contents immediately put us both on high alert. It mentions on November 7, 2030, a convoy of 32 survivors fled to this elementary school and encountered Simon there. Simon claimed to be a Sequence 2 preacher of the God worship path, and demanded the entire convoy worship the Death God. Even stranger, the convoy's leader turned out to be his own younger brother. The deputy leader was his nephew, and even the convoy's supervisor was his own son. Reading this part, both Marcus and I feel a chill crawl across our scalps, because what's described in this letter is almost identical to our own convoy situation right now. Right then, a wave of dizziness hits Marcus and me at the exact same moment. It feels like something is forcibly suppressing our minds, even wiping away our suspicions about Simon entirely. Fighting through the dizziness, Marcus scrawls a line on a scrap of paper, "Don't trust Simon." But barely 30 seconds later, as he stares at the words, his gaze already turns blank and confused. Still, once a seed of doubt is planted, it never really goes away. Simon's image in our minds starts to crack from that moment on. A few days later, I spot a massive 8-limbed oddity, a huge floating eyeball, and a white-haired young woman, all appearing together at the school's perimeter, trailed by a pack of snow-white crawlers. Facing a lineup like this, Simon summons the Death God on the spot to drive them off. Even though the Death God is a newly born oddity, its power is already immense, but even it looks strained against a lineup like this. Just as things start slipping out of control, the Death God unleashes a terrifying power. It lifts its head, and with eyes that seem to hold entire galaxies within them, it sweeps a gaze across the assembled oddities. The next second, every single one of them loses the ability to fight. Even more terrifying, anyone caught in that gaze feels a wave of overwhelming shame rise up inside them. Many in our convoy break down sobbing right there on the spot. Watching this, it finally clicks for me. That power Simon once used on us, it belongs to the Death God's own God worship sequence. The one being worshipped was never someone else. It was always himself. Ethan, have you ever seen Simon actually eat anything? You mean Simon traded away his own sense of taste in exchange for the Death God's power? This sequence is deranged. Raise your own God, then siphon its power away, piece by piece. The stronger the God gets, the stronger he gets, until eventually he becomes the God himself. Worshipping the God was always worshipping him. Simon plays a hell of a long game. The first ritual sacrificed fewer than 10 people. Simon sacrificed the very group that first fled here with him, pushing himself from Sequence 1 to Sequence 2. The second ritual, a convoy of over 30, took him straight to Sequence 3, and this third ritual, over 100 survivors, US included if it succeeds, he'll ascend to Sequence 4. There's one key restriction on the ritual. He can only sacrifice members of his own church. That explains exactly why he's been so desperate to force everyone into joining. Right as we finish piecing this together, Qianqian kicks the classroom door open without warning. Marcus, Ethan, what are you two doing? My heart lurches. I instinctively duck behind Marcus. Qianqian, Ivy, what brings you here? Marcus, isn't a peaceful life good enough for you? Why do you have to go and do something like this? Is power really worth all this? Qianqian, have you ever considered whether your uncle is still really your uncle? Marcus, that's enough. Come with me to see him. I'll help explain everything. Just moments ago, Simon told Qianqian and Ivy that Marcus and I were plotting to seize the high priest's seat for ourselves, and personally ordered them to kill the both of us. For Qianqian, that's not an easy order to follow, and though Ivy hasn't been with us long, she trusts Marcus's character. So the standoff becomes Qianqian and Ivy squaring off against the two of us. Of course, I'm not naive enough to think a few words will pull them away from Simon's grip. So, under everyone's stunned gaze, I walk over and join Qianqian and Ivy's side. Then I draw my cleaver and point it straight at Marcus. Ethan, what are you doing? Marcus, don't blame me for this. I know it's low. This whole thing's messed up. We got here because my brother Simon looked out for us. He's not just your leader, he's my brother, and Qianqian's uncle too. And you want to overthrow the whole church, start up some fair church of your own. Qianqian, Ivy, thank God you two showed up. Or he really would have fooled me. I'm reporting Marcus for forging evidence and plotting to seize power. I'm your witness. That notebook and letter in his hands are the proof. The words barely leave my mouth before Chanshin, Ivy, and the church members all freeze. Ethan, where's your conscience? Do you even have one left? We all leave the classroom together after that except Iron Lion still snoring away. Honestly, I kind of envy him. The dumber you are, the easier it is to sleep at night. In the hallway, Chanshin, Ivy, and I keep Marcus pinned between us. Thanks to my little performance back there, the church members are looking at me a lot more favorably now. Ethan, you're really something else. Can't beat them? Join them. Seems pretty reasonable to me. Just then I happen to glance out the window and see a body hanging out on the field. One look and I recognize her instantly. Grace. Beneath the tree, several survivors are whispering among themselves. We soon arrive at classroom 4-1. Chanshin tries to argue something further, but Simon cuts her off with a raised hand, no hesitation. Relax, they're both my friends. I'm not going to touch either of them. Chanshin is left speechless, biting her lip as she leaves. Sit down. You've already read what's in there, haven't you? With that, he tosses the notebook and letter onto the desk. I've been looking for this for a while. Just didn't expect Grace was the one who took it. Grace used to be quite famous back home. Beautiful, too. When she first got here, someone tried to force themselves on her. I'm the one who gave her food, the reason she survived at all. Not to sound harsh, but if it weren't for me, 90% of the people here wouldn't have made it this far. But there's always someone who forgets to be grateful. Ethan, I killed Grace. You think I was wrong? Look out for yourself first, or the world will bury you. If I were you, I'd have done the exact same thing. See, everyone says you and I are cut from the same cloth. But you already know the truth now. The God worship sequence isn't about worshiping a god. It's about worshiping yourself. When I first awakened as a worshiper, I was genuinely happy. But that happiness didn't last long at all. Early on, a worshiper is weak. Not even a snack for the oddities out there. So with no other choice, I found Sherry. When I learned worship required sacrifices, I struggled with it, believe it or not. I wasn't born a killer. But people change. Without sacrifices, we'd all be torn apart by oddities. So I offered them to the death god. And I don't think I was wrong to do it. As long as I'm strong enough, I can keep the oddities away. And with enough sacrifices, I could even reach sequence 9. Look at history. Every single person who's ever stood at the top climbed there over mountains of corpses and seas of blood. Ethan, I know you're the same as me. You understand some things require seeing the bigger picture. So Marcus, I'm inviting you both to join the Death God's church. Once I reach sequence 4, I'll be stronger. The Death God will be stronger. And together we'll be able to clean up all of Wrong City and rebuild a home from the ashes. As he says this, Simon's expression is the picture of sincerity. He even pulls out a box of tea leaves and 5 cartons of cigarettes. Seeing all this, I visibly perk up. A flattering grin spreads across my face. Simon, you really do know how to get to me. High Priest, please look out for me going forward. So you're really agreeing to this? Simon never expects me to cave this easily. In the end, Marcus and I smoothly become the church's newest deputy high priests. But deep down, I know exactly not a word out of Simon's mouth can be trusted. And I'm sure as hell not sacrificing myself for his so-called grand vision. The moment he reaches sequence 4, we won't even know what hit us. So there's no way I'm just sitting around waiting to die. After all, tomorrow is the final day before the ritual. The moment he successfully ascends to sequence 4, every one of us becomes his sacrifice. So after talking it over, Marcus and I decide to split up and act starting at dawn. That night, in the early hours, Marcus and I sneak over to the window. I turn myself into a wisp of smoke, vanishing into the darkness. As for Marcus, he's already got a rope ready and lowers himself out the window. Meanwhile, wrapped in a black cloak, I slowly emerge in some dark hidden corner. I know you understand human speech. Send out whoever's in charge. The moment I say it, a snow-white figure drifts in from the distance, along with a massive 8-limbed octopus-like oddity. Who's this, sneaking around in the shadows? Up to something you'd rather no one see. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. Simon's holding his sacrifice. The ritual, you know exactly what that means. With that, I dissolve into smoke again and vanish. But as I leave, in the darkness behind me, countless pairs of red eyes flare open at once. He's only sequence 4, that's all. For Simon to be this arrogant, don't underestimate him. He already had that snow maiden swallow a pathfinder, a sequence superhuman. His powers surged since then. And right now, he's got a full 5 superhuman sequences under him. If he manages to devour them all, we're all finished. So when do we strike? Sooner rather than later. The faster, the better. But who was that? Why would he help us? No idea. Humans are such a hassle. But since he's offered, let's move tonight. In some corner of the school, I pull out a bottle of maximally enhanced Death God's blood and down it in one gulp. The next second, my body is engulfed in a surge of raw power, shooting straight from sequence 1 to sequence 2. 2 hours later, I make my way back to classroom 4-3, where Marcus has already beaten me back. I don't ask what he's been up to, but he suddenly hands me a bag. Floating above it are the words, Ethan. This is a Pathfinder's mark. There are some stones inside. Remember to drop one every so often. I'll be able to track them. Marcus, what is this? Don't overthink it. You and I both know tonight we save who we can. With these marks, I'll be able to track everyone's location. It isn't just me either. Above Iron Lion's head, two glowing characters shine too. Marcus has clearly prepared for this well in advance. But before the plan can even begin, disaster strikes early. Right at that moment, from the direction of the school gate, a suffocating wave of dread rolls in without warning. Simon, sitting with his eyes closed in classroom 4-1, snaps them open. Even the survivors deep in sleep are jolted awake at the exact same instant. In that moment, oddities of every shape, human and beast alike, surround the entire school. Ethan, I think we're done for this time. Don't say that, Marcus. Hold steady. Even if it comes to dying, I'll go down before you do. Iron Lion, you're the one I can count on. Ethan, you never come through when it counts. But before Marcus can finish, Iron Lion charges straight for the classroom door. Wait, weren't you supposed to protect me? The school grounds are already swarming with crawlers. Faced with a horde this size, the ordinary survivors are too terrified to even breathe. Only Iron Lion is out there, roaring with laughter, sending crawlers flying in every direction. Seeing this, Marcus immediately rallies Will, Lena, and the others. Did everyone bring what I told you to? All accounted for, Marcus. Then stick to the plan. Get bow and pull back now. Marcus and I are thinking the exact same thing. Even as a Sequence 2 Mist Warden now facing a horde this overwhelming, I still don't think I stand a chance against these oddities head-on. So I stay hidden in a corner near the Doomsday Rig. Thankfully, since becoming a Mist Warden, my fog concealment has grown far stronger. Once an enemy steps into the mist, they can't pin down my position at all. Even so, I don't dare let my guard down because out at the school's edge, there are still a few powerful ghosts, and the Snow Maiden, dressed all in white. Worse still, some crawlers are already smashing through the school building's windows. Ghosts, there are ghosts. Someone alert the High Priest. We need to find the superhumans, only they can handle these ghosts. Blood tears Mercy's face, bones pave the god's road, my lord above, bear witness to the end. The wraith servants let out low, hissing chants, the crushing weight in the air growing thick enough to feel solid. But right in this moment of crisis, flames suddenly erupt on the third floor of the building. The crawlers that had just climbed up don't even get a chance to scream before they're reduced to scattering ash. Above the flames, Qianqian stands in a pose so elegant it's almost absurd, perched atop a flying sword. Right then, the Snow Maiden's figure drifts forward, unhurried. She doesn't even spare Qianqian a glance, simply raising a hand to direct her crawlers, pointing lightly at Qianqian. But Qianqian's not one to just stand there and take it. Muttering an incantation, she summons a roaring fire dragon that surges toward the crawlers, burning every last one of them to a crisp. The Snow Maiden shows no reaction at all. She then gives a light gesture toward Iron Lion, and an endless wave of crawlers piles up around him, burying him instantly under a small mountain of them. Yet every single one gets sent flying by his fists a second later. Seizing the moment, Ivy charges straight at the Snow Maiden. But before she can even close the distance, the Snow Maiden flicks her fingers again, condensing countless snowflakes into hammer-like blasts of ice that slam Ivy hard into a wall. Ivy's already hurt by now. Iron Lion is buried under an endless siege of crawlers. The Snow Maiden alone is enough to leave everyone struggling. Where the hell are you? Get out here now. We can't hold on much longer. Humans really are weak. We haven't even brought out our real strength. And you're already this pathetic? So where's that friend of yours? Why hasn't he shown himself? And your High Priest? Don't tell me he's scared. Save your breath. That guy Ethan. He's not coming out. The words are barely out when Simon steps slowly out from the shadows of the stairwell. Right behind him, the Death God's figure suddenly materializes at his side. The moment they see it, the panicked church members, who moments ago were terrified, start frantically chanting scripture. But what none of them realize is the Death God's appearance means this fight is about to escalate into something far worse. Even the Snow Maiden, who moments ago seemed unstoppable, now fixes her stare on the Death God hovering in the air. So you've finally shown yourself. The Death God says nothing, just floats there in silence, scythe in hand. The dread radiating off it forces countless crawlers to stumble backward, uncontrollably, several meters at once. Seeing this, Qianqian and the others immediately fall back towards Simon. They all know this is no longer a fight they can take part in. Only Marcus quietly slips off with his group, hiding in a corner, clearly thinking the exact same thing. I am waiting for the right moment to make a break for it. But right as the standoff hangs in the balance, Simon steps out onto the field. The rest of this, leave to me. But the words are barely out of his mouth when the Snow Maiden raises her hand and points lightly toward the Death God. A massive blizzard erupts, centered on her, surging straight toward the Death God, the same force that had cornered Qianqian and Ivy with ease. It slams into the Death God, yet only makes it flinch, barely. An oddity with a massive wolf's head has already slipped around behind the Death God, unnoticed. In a single instant, dozens of top-tier oddities strike the Death God all at once. I whip out my phone and hit record instantly. No way I'm missing a single second of the Death God fighting. What I see next finally explains why the other oddities fear the Death God so much. The Snow Maiden's blizzard only slows the Death God down for half a second. The eight-limbed face finally lands one hit on it, and the Death God simply deflects it with a casual block, the entire force completely neutralized. A heartbeat later, its scythe slices through the air, severing the eight-limbed face's tentacles one after another. Even the Snow Maiden loses an arm in the blink of an eye during the exchange. This is exactly what makes the Death God so terrifying. But the more the Death God dominates, the more anxious I actually become. Because Marcus and I both know the moment the oddities are routed, Simon won't hesitate to throw every last one of us into the sacrifice. That's not the ending I want. Everyone, hold the line for now. Once we take down Simon, the Death God won't last much longer. Ethan, get out here. Don't think disguising your voice fools me. Ethan, how can you be this cold-blooded? Aren't I supposed to be your best friend? In just a single minute, the oddities surge forward like a tidal wave. Even with the Death God guarding him, Simon is forced to fall back. Amid the chaos, while everyone's attention is locked on the battle, I bolt for the Doomsday Rig. Chantian, Ivy, stop him. Everyone else can live today, but Ethan has to die. At Simon's furious roar, every eye in the courtyard snaps toward me. Right then, Marcus steps out of the shadows with a group behind him. Marcus, what about Ethan? What do we do? He won't die even if you do. Move now. But when she hears Simon's order, Chanshin, who should be fighting the oddities, visibly hesitates. Ivy is the first to react instead, planting herself squarely at the school gate. Thick smoke fills the truck's cabin around me. Anyone who dares block my path, even Simon, who once felt like a brother to me, I won't hesitate for a second. I slam the pedal to the floor, and the Doomsday Rig charges at Ivy like an unleashed beast. Watching the truck bear down on her, Ivy's right fist erupts in a thick burst of white mist and slams straight into the hood. A deafening crash follows, and Ivy is sent flying backward while the Doomsday Rig is jolted to a dead stop from the impact of her punch. Ethan, you've got a death wish, Reaper of Death. Seeing me try to restart the engine, Simon grits his teeth and unleashes his ultimate move. The Death God's presence surges violently. The blood-red scythe in its hand ignites into raging flame, slicing the eight-limbed face, mid-ambush, into pieces. Seeing this, the Snow Maiden doesn't waste a second thinking she turns and flees. But before she can get more than a few steps, her head drops silently to the snow. A shard of diamond clinks to the ground after it. Worst off of all is the wolf-headed oddity caught in the Death God's shockwave, nothing left of it but a single fang glinting faintly in the snow. By now, from the lowest crawlers to the unspeakable shadow things, every last one of them flees in sheer terror. Thankfully, right at that moment, the Doomsday Rig's engine roars back to life, but moments later, I discover with dread the Death God has appeared directly behind my truck. Thinking fast, I conjure a fake Death God out of smoke. It only buys me a moment, though the smoke decoy is quickly shredded apart by the blood-red scythe. Before I can even process the shock, the scythe punches straight through the roof of the truck, pinning me in place, trapped inside, staring blankly ahead. For a moment, I can't quite believe what's happening. Right now, the Doomsday Rig looks like an enraged bull. A length of chain lashes wildly toward the Death God. She snaps it with a single, effortless tug. The instant Lena sees the roof of the car get pierced through, she collapses straight into the snow. He can't be dead. They always say the worst ones live forever. How could a monster like him die here? No, it's not possible. As for Simon, the moment he sees the scythe run me through, his face lights up with a rare, uncontainable glee. But the next second, a sharp pain hits his heart. He looks down. A machete has somehow driven straight through his chest. Ethan, how is this possible? Before he can finish the sentence, his vision goes dark. At the same moment, the body of mine sitting inside the Doomsday Rig is slowly dissolving into smoke. Even the Death God's hollow eyes flicker with confusion in that instant. After all, it all happens too fast for anyone to react. Why are you all still standing here? Go! I burst out of the shadows and sprint for the Doomsday Rig. With Simon's death, Marcus and the others snap back to their senses. The fog clouding everyone's eyes clears in an instant. What an incredible power. Everyone, running is all that matters now. Remember to bring your marker. This time we scatter. Please do everything you can to survive. Just hold on until I find you. With that, Marcus is the first to leap into his own vehicle. The other survivors don't hesitate either. They sprint for any working car nearby. Iron Lion, cover the rear. Got it, Ethan, leave this to me. Idiot. You're covering the rear? Are you trying to get killed? Just as my Doomsday Rig pulls away, a willow branch whips out and drags the tentacle off the ground. Within moments, the school grounds turn into an outright massacre. Countless anomalies pour in, and the survivors who can't get out in time are cut off, torn apart one after another in the snow. I watch the horror unfold in my rearview mirror, and I feel nothing. Because as long as Simon lives, none of us, including me, was ever getting out today. Lucky for me, I've already ranked up to Sequence 2. My control over smoke isn't what it used to be. The smoke condenses into a blade of blood-red mist at the front of the car, carving straight through the snowdrifts on the road. Meanwhile, on the other side, Marcus keeps pushing forward, pulls out his lighter, and gives the flame a light breath. A blazing fireball reduces the crawler ahead to vapor instantly. Once we clear a safe distance from the school, the anomalies on the road finally start to thin out. It reminds me of what Marcus told me earlier. So I pull out the stones engraved with my name from my bag. Every so often, I drop one. From a distance, these faintly glowing stones stand out sharply against the night. But I know full well running blind like this isn't a real plan. Sooner or later, we'll run into something new. After thinking it over for a moment, I pull the car over at an out-of-the-way intersection. Then I light a cigarette and slowly breathe it out. The smoke spreads out into the night wind, blanketing the area for dozens of meters around in a hazy field of mist. Inside this domain one, I laid down myself anyone but me, human or anomaly, who wanders in instantly loses all 5 senses. With that done, I start going back over what happened in Wrong City and that god worshipper Simon. He left a deep impression on me, and it wasn't until after he died that I realized something. I actually believed I had a close trusted friend, and that friend looked nothing like Simon at all. That's when it finally clicked. This was Simon's power fusing himself with someone from my own memories. The more I think about it, the colder my spine gets. Simon's power was genuinely terrifying, making you trust a total stranger like a lifelong friend, with zero suspicion. Not to mention, back at Sequence 3, he could fight the Snow Maiden and the 8-limbed face at once and still hold the upper hand. That kind of strength is absurd just to imagine. And yet a man that dangerous still ended up dying by my hand. The true strength of the Smoke Apostle only really starts to show at Sequence 2. If not for how uncanny my smoke clone is, this whole group of us would already be wiped out. 3 days, 1 breath, return in smoke. This is the second ability a Sequence 2 Mist Warden unlocks. The moment the Death God kills me, this passive ability triggers. My body instantly dissolves into mist, while the real me is pulled straight back to my exact position and state from 1 minute earlier. What makes this ability so terrifying is this: 1 minute earlier, I happened to be hiding in a dark corner, where the smoke and mist hadn't fully cleared yet. Even a perception as sharp as the Death Gods never picked up on my presence. And in that exact moment, Simon was standing not far from me. So that unexpected strike landed square in his back. 3 days, 1 breath means it takes 3 full days to condense 1 breath. A breath is a clone. Return in smoke means the clone dissolves into smoke when it dies, and return means I get pulled back into my own past self. It's by chaining these two abilities together that I finally managed to kill Simon. I successfully ranked up from Sequence 1 to Sequence 2, and precisely because of that, I was able to use 3 days, 1 breath to bring Simon down and finally escape Wrong City. This trip's rewards, though, didn't just hand me an extra 43,000 kill points. On top of that, I walked away with a free tentacle from the 8-limbed face. Too bad, in the rush to escape, there was no time to grab the Snow Maiden's clear crystal, or the fang item off the wolf-headed anomaly. The 8-limbed face's tentacle, this item retains part of the 8-limbed face's original abilities. With the right crafter to turn it into an artifact, the finished piece could rank in the top 1,000 on the artifact rankings. The higher the rank, the worse the side effects. But if this tentacle is used to upgrade someone's Doomsday rig instead, it can jump the rig's ranking straight into the top 1,000, with a strong chance of becoming a full monster rig. And here's the key part after the upgrade. All side effects are completely bypassed. For exactly one reason: because you're Ethan. How many kill points to upgrade to a monster rig? Upgrading to a monster rig costs the player 200,000 kill points. With what I've got saved up, that's flat out impossible. Left with no other choice, I settle for spending 30,000 kill points to upgrade the Blood Moon Machete instead. Who could have guessed? Right at that moment, a faint sound drifts in from nearby. At first, I assume it's Marcus catching up to me. But just to be safe, I don't rush out of the mist. Instead, I shape the smoke into a mock death god, staying alert to everything around me, while I duck back into the Doomsday rig, ready to bolt at a moment's notice. What I never expected, though, was the source of that sound: a black goat, walking upright on 2 legs. It paces along the edge of the mist, as if sniffing at something in the air. It puts me on edge. But soon, the goat anomaly steps toward me. It clearly has no idea, though anyone, human or anomaly, who steps into my mist loses all sensation instantly. So the moment it gets within 10 meters, the sudden discomfort forces it back out. An hour later, a few more goat anomalies wander past, one after another. It drives home a hard truth: just how terrifying the wilds are without a guide. You never know what an anomaly can do, and one clash can easily pull in every anomaly in the region. That's a lesson countless people paid for with their lives. So I wait until everything around me goes completely quiet, then switch the Doomsday rig to electric mode and slip away quietly. But barely 10 kilometers in, I think I hear Marcus and Xianqian's voices. "Ethan, I finally found you." But when I snap around to look, there's no one there at all. So I floor it, as a voice calls out, "Ethan, wait for me. I haven't gotten in yet, open the door." "Ethan, are you really going to leave me behind?" Right then, I get a very strong feeling the second I stop this car, some unknown anomaly will climb straight in, so I keep going. Along the way, countless people beg for a ride. Some are elderly, some are children, and some even sound like people I know. These anomalies seem to be waiting for their one opening. I ignore every single one of them. Not until the sky starts to lighten do I finally reach a relatively safe area. Strangely enough, the temperature here has climbed noticeably. So I peel off my down jacket and finally get a good solid sleep in the car. Around me, the morning mist keeps thickening, and even the sun just rising over the horizon is slowly swallowed by the haze. Right in the middle of a deep sleep, Marcus's voice suddenly jolts me awake from outside the car door. "Ethan, are you in there?" When I see the unfocused look in his eyes, I realize it's actually Captain Marcus. "Ethan, you really don't have a care in the world. Do you sleeping soundly at a time like this?" "Come on, Marcus, seriously. If you'd been any later, I'd be dead." When I get out of the car, the first thing I see is a thick rope tied around Marcus's waist. He explains that he followed my stones the whole way here, only to find this mist is completely different from the natural fog around it. His first instinct was that it had to be me, but the second he stepped in, he couldn't see a hand in front of his face, so he tied the rope on as a precaution, worried he'd lose himself searching around inside. "Ethan, this mist of yours is genuinely unnatural." "Right back at you. You old fox, I knew you wouldn't die that easily." "Truth is, the two of us are the most likely people in this convoy to survive. One of us plays a deep, calculated game, always with cards left up his sleeve. The other is a sly old bastard willing to do whatever it takes just to live." "So, are you alone right now?" "Just me, Will, and Bao. Everyone else is still missing for now. Don't worry too much. Iron Lion is strong enough that most anomalies won't stand a chance against him. Chanshin's a sharp little thing, and as for Ivy, she should be fine as long as she's with Chanshin. Iron Lion is the most straightforward sequence awakened in this convoy, and the only one who still insists on saving people, even now, even in the apocalypse. The reason his school bus stays packed is because he always figures one more saved is one more worth it. Now that everyone's scattered and running, either he ends up saving the most people alive, or he ends up with no one left at all. After leaving Wrong City, the snow lets up quite a bit, but this fog wasn't ever this thick before. "Ethan, can't you control smoke and mist? Try seeing if you can control this fog." I try over and over, but nothing happens at all. After all, my smoke and mist come from my own power. This natural fog is something else entirely. Next up, we find Iron Lion. He's the closest one to us. "Marcus, you never mentioned your marking ability could locate people too." "I can sense anything I've marked, but I can only mark up to 10 people, so technically all of us are already carrying your mark." "Then why have us carry the stones too?" "Because the range is limited. Go past it, and I lose track of you." "You're a sneaky old bastard, Marcus, guarding secrets even from your own teammates. You're one to talk. Back at the Kill Without Mercy fight, what was that clone of yours about? And this mist of yours changing this much, you never said a word about it either. If I couldn't mark people, you'd never have found me today. Never thought you of all people would start hiding your abilities too. The situation forces it. After what Simon could do, I can't afford not to guard myself. From what I understand, every rank up grants somewhere between 1 and 4 abilities. You've already shown me 2 stop right there. That's exactly how it turned out. Marcus, if we're heading for Iron Lion, we'd better hurry. He's over 100 kilometers from us." "What? That far?" "Yeah, but the fastest route runs straight through Mist City." The moment he says it, my scalp goes numb. Cutting straight through a city, this is basically a repeat of what happened in Wrong City. Going around would take at least a week. There's no way around it. "Marcus, with that marking ability of yours, can't you just set up a group and share everyone's location so they can find their own way to us?" "No. Not right now, at least. But don't worry too much counting you. We're only 4 people. Third law of anomalies. The fewer people, the less likely we are to draw attention. So should we head out now?" "Give it a minute. Bao needs to rest." Speaking of Bao, I realize I haven't actually seen him yet. Marcus walks me over to the car. Bao is skin and bone now, nothing left of him. Bao might not make it much longer. At least he won't die in some anomaly's jaws. Small mercy. It's the apocalypse. Could be either of us next. Even so, what worries me more is what waits for us crossing Mist City. Here I wrote this for you. Haven't come up with a title yet. Take a look, it might come in useful. The notebook is packed with records on anomalies from the white-robed scissors woman of Apricot Blossom Town, all the way to the god worshippers at Wrong City Elementary No. 2. It's probably the first time I've seen anomaly research this systematic and this dangerous. What genuinely shocks me is that Marcus didn't just record individual cases, he actually distilled a set of laws from them. First law, anomalies cannot be fully described. They can never be fully understood or categorized. The moment you think you have experience handling one, you're not far from death. Second law, humans and anomalies cannot coexist. Either we wipe them out, or they wipe us out. Third law, only sequence-awakened individuals can fight anomalies. Fourth law, the more people gather together, the more anomalies they attract. Fifth law, the longer you stay in one place, the higher the odds of drawing anomalies in. That's why survivors keep moving, always. It's also why, even with my system, I never dare to spawn monsters carelessly. Reading this far, I already understand what this notebook is worth. I'd even say having it could mean the difference, next time I face an anomaly, between living and dying. But right as I'm absorbed in it, Marcus suddenly snatches the notebook back. "Alright, time to move. You've already lived through everything else in there. No need to read the rest." Just as I'm about to get in the car, I see Will, the convoy assistant, on his knees, coughing without stop. "Will, what's wrong?" "It's nothing, Marcus, just a little short of breath." But the moment he stands up, I know something's off. We immediately mask up, but Will's coughing won't stop. With no other choice, we set off as fast as we can. Right now, I'm the only one in the convoy fit to fight. All Marcus can do is stay close behind me, calling out directions. His voice crackles through the radio again. Hey, Ethan, come in. Do you copy? Marcus, it's just the two of us. Drop the formalities. Just keep this channel open, both of us. Slow down. Something about this fog is getting worse. I can only creep forward slowly, following Marcus's directions the whole way left here. Right there, feeling my way through it like a maze. Only once the tires hit solid road again does that eerie, disoriented feeling finally start to fade. Which also means we've reached Mist City. Compared to Wrong City, Mist City used to be a far bigger, busier place. Its danger level is on another scale entirely. Marcus, what's it look like up ahead? Straight ahead is Mist City. Stay sharp. I'll call it out early if I sense danger so everyone can brace. Marcus's car stays glued to mine, but with visibility next to zero, neither of us dares to speed up. Who could have guessed? Right then, Marcus's voice cuts in sharp and fast. Wait, Ethan, hold on. Marcus, is it an anomaly? Marcus shuts his eyes, sensing for a full 3 minutes, then keys the radio again. Strange. I can sense something out there, flickering in and out, like it's being masked by something. I've never run into anything like this before. Marcus, should we go around? Iron Lion can hold on a bit longer. He's a Sequence 2 Titan after all. Not an option. We've got at least 3 of them tailing us right now, powerful ones. Each one's presence is on par with the 8-limbed face. That single sentence takes away any chance of turning back. In the end, the convoy drives straight into Mist City. The city is swallowed in a thick, hazy blur, visibility barely reaching 5 meters. Still, some roadside signs are just barely readable. Just as I adjust our direction, a faint voice drifts out from deep within the mist. Help! Help me! Ethan, did you hear that? A call for help? Marcus, a cry for help in a place like this, does that even make sense to you? No, that's not an anomaly. I'm not sensing any anomaly presence at all. That's a person. There's actually a living person here. God Almighty. Marcus, Iron Lion can't wait forever. It's worth the detour. If there's a survivor here, they might know the way through, and that could get us out of this city faster. You're the captain. Your call. With that, we park in a spot that looks relatively safe. Since the fog is hitting Will and Bao too hard, we leave them resting in the car. The voice was coming from up ahead, should be the second floor of that barbershop. Once Marcus confirms there's no anomaly nearby, I go up first, machete in hand. Tucked in a corner on the second floor, a middle-aged man in a mask lies curled up on the floor, both legs badly injured. Are you human or something else? You just called me up here to save you, and now you're asking that? Bit late for it, isn't it? I don't bother explaining myself. I just wrap him in smoke and carry him down the stairs. Seeing this, Marcus raises a hand and throws up a concealment barrier. After some questioning, we finally piece together the whole story. This man originally belonged to a small group of 17 survivors. He broke his leg while out scavenging for supplies and has been hiding out in the barbershop ever since, just holding on. Please, both of you just take me to the convenience store on People's Road up ahead. Just get me there, that's all. Someone will take care of you both once you arrive. We can get you there, but we need a guide through Mist City. Can you arrange that for us? No problem, I'll have someone guide you. If I weren't in this state, I'd guide you myself. We're all locals here, know Mist City like the back of our hands. Following his directions, we soon arrive at a mid-sized convenience store. This is it, just knock, someone will let you in. I raise my hand and knock on the metal shutter. A few seconds pass, then a wary voice calls out from inside. Who's there? It's me, Hua, I'm back. As the shutter slowly rolls up, a grimy-looking girl pokes her head out. The instant she sees me and Marcus, a flicker of greed crosses her eyes, impossible to hide. Old Zhang, you're back. Who are these two? Hua, these are Mr. Chen and Mr. Chu. Sequence awakened. At the words, sequence awakened, the greed in the girl's eyes vanishes at once. My legs hurt, get long, and How out here to help me. An irritated voice grumbles back from inside. Coming, so he's hurt, so what do you expect us to carry you or something? Soon, 2 young men with bleach blonde hair swagger out, all attitude. Ooh, fresh meat, pretty sharp looking, these two. Their eyes sweep over me and Marcus and quickly turn into a blatant sizing up stare. Have you two lost your minds? These two are sequence awakened. You think you're in any position to mess with them? Why don't you come inside, sit for a bit? You saved old Zheng, we haven't even thanked you properly yet. No need, we're in a hurry. Old Zheng promised us just now that a guide would be arranged to lead us out. Can you make that call? I can't decide that alone. Why don't you both come in for a bit? I need to talk it over with everyone inside first. Seeing us hesitate, she quickly adds, Don't worry, it won't take long, 20 minutes tops. The more she explains, the more I can see how nervous she is, especially when I glance at the floor just past the shutter where I can just make out dried bloodstains. This place clearly isn't clean. I immediately stop Marcus, who's about to agree. We're pressed for time. You're a Mist City local, just come with us. Sir, it's not that I don't want to help you. My mom and dad are both inside. I can't just leave them and go alone. I don't want to hear excuses. You're coming with me, now. Who could have guessed right at that moment from behind the shutter more than a dozen masked figures suddenly charge out, weapons of every kind in hand, even 4 or 5 guns among them. Lucky for me, my reflexes are fast enough. My body dissolves into a wisp of smoke and reappears behind them. Everyone freezes at the sight. Marcus uses the opening to duck behind the SUV, pulling out his lighter and readying his charged ability. Right then, killing intent floods through me completely. These people have clearly done this before. Don't be scared, boys just sequence awakened. It's not like we haven't taken one down before. Between the two of them, they've got to be loaded with supplies. But just as they move to strike, the lead one with bleached hair suddenly bursts into flames. The searing pain has him screaming without stop, and the next second he bolts straight into the thick fog, never to be seen again. It's him, he did this! A faint red flickers through my blood eye, but since I haven't fully synced with it, the power falls short of what I'd like. Still, more than enough to shake this crowd. How is he this strong? No wait, why was Bo so weak back then, and this guy's on a whole different level? You've killed a sequence awakened before? To play it safe, Marcus and I both stay hidden, keeping behind the car. After all, they're still armed with guns. And right at that moment, I trigger the Blood Eye's second control ability, forcing whoever's holding a gun to open fire on the person next to them. What the hell are you doing? Who told you to pull the trigger? I watch it all unfold, my expression darkening completely. I won't deny I've done plenty of ugly things myself, but every one of them was just to stay alive. What this crowd has done, though, doesn't deserve to keep breathing. So I trigger the Blood Eye's control a second time. The next second, they all grip their weapons tight and turn on each other. You're a devil, you're the devil, no, you're the demon. Under the weight of my power, it's not long before every one of them is down. Marcus steps into the convenience store for a quick look. When he comes back out, his face is grim. He's clearly seen something he wishes he hadn't. Marcus, we're running short on time. Every single one of these people deserve to die. Leave a few alive, though we still need someone to guide us. You have no idea what they've actually done. I've survived this long into the apocalypse, and this is the first time I've come across something like this. Stop. Don't tell me one of us being sick to our stomach is enough. Don't pass it on to me. A few minutes later, there are 3 more people crammed in my truck bed. Old Zheng, the man with a broken leg from before. One is the young man they call Hao, and the third, riding shotgun, is Hua. From here on, cooperate. You'll understand everything once we get where we're going. With the girl guiding us, the thick fog hasn't cleared at all, but our pace picks up considerably. Are you someone who came down from the divine elephant? Hearing that, I'm reminded of something Mo Huaren once told me. Apparently, it's an unimaginably massive elephant with an actual fortress standing on its back. So maybe this so-called divine elephant is also just another artifact beyond human comprehension. Tell me everything you know. I've only heard about it secondhand. The divine elephant is said to roam deep within the mist near Mist City. Even stranger, there's supposedly an entire village living on its back. The people there don't have to fight anomalies at all. Life there's like it never left before the apocalypse. Every survivor sees it as the one true sanctuary. But so far, I've never heard of anyone actually making it aboard. In your little group, did a sequence awaken turn up before? It wasn't me, it was Long and Hao and them. I didn't do anything. Cut the excuses, just answer what I ask. It really has nothing to do with me. Everything with Bo, that was all them. The sequence awakened she's talking about was named Bo, a mechanist sequence. When he first joined this little group, Bo was well respected. He even used his own ability to forge several types of weapons capable of fighting anomalies. It was exactly that gear that let this group cling to survival in the thick fog. But the ones with bleached hair, mixed in among the group before the apocalypse, they were already street thugs, and after it hit, they only got worse. They tried more than once to pull something ugly, but Bo always shut them down hard. Over time, their resentment just kept building. Later, with supplies running low, Bo proposed cutting from 2 meals a day down to 1. That set off a group already simmering with resentment. Stirred on by the 2 thugs, they waited until Bo's guard was down and turned on him. A mechanist isn't a frontline combat sequence. After all, even with a few weapons of his own, he couldn't hold off dozens of people rushing him at once. As she gets to this part, I glance at Hua. She was clearly one of the key people behind that uprising. After the mechanist died, how did the rest of you manage to survive? It's the mist thralls. Anyone who dies turns into one. They come back for us, drag us into the fog, and turn us into new thralls too. We started with over 100 people. Now there's only 17 of us left. Honestly, even if you two hadn't shown up, we'd have all turned into thralls soon enough. The instant she finishes speaking, she suddenly feels the seat beneath her come alive, clamping down on her like it's trying to trap her whole. The sides of the seat gape open like a mouth ready to swallow her whole the next second. What are you doing? One more word out of you, and I'll have you cut out your own tongue. Hua shuts her mouth instantly, though the venom in her eyes doesn't fade one bit. You just said it was the mist thralls, that's how you went from 100 plus down to just 17. 100 ordinary people running into anomalies that would have ended with all of you dead, no exceptions. So you're still leaving something out. If you're going to lie to a sequence awakened, you'd better make sure your acting's actually good enough first. Hearing that, the girl's body starts to tremble slightly. She's clearly underestimated me. I'm sorry, Simon, he really is that strong. We tried to kill them, but without Bo, we never stood a chance. We lost a lot of people trying to kill the mist thralls, but those things just don't get hurt. Nothing we did to them worked, no matter what. We should have all died in that very first attack. But the mist thralls only ever appear for 3 minutes. After that, they vanish again. 3 minutes? Why don't I know about that? It's exactly because of those 3 minutes that we've managed to survive at all. The seat this is a rule-bound anomaly. Rule-bound anomalies are far more terrifying than ordinary ones. They're the kind of thing that simply doesn't play by the rules you'd expect. And a rule-bound anomaly isn't something either of us can handle right now. Even with the whole convoy backing us up, we wouldn't last a single second. Up to this point, aside from the throwaway crawlers, the only anomalies our group has actually killed are the face scorpion, the eight-limbed face, and abyssal bloodline more recently. Any one of them, on their own, was already beyond what a squad could handle. The sheer strength of anomalies makes them practically unbeatable against a fair fighting convoy. Marcus, how much longer until we reach Iron Line? At this pace, at least 2 more days. To make up time, we only allow ourselves 5-minute breaks. Over 10 hours later, we finally reach Egret River Bridge. Right now, thick fog swallows the entire bridge whole. Ethan, I've got some bad news. Can you just get it all out in one breath? I'm sensing something huge under the bridge. I don't know exactly how big, but it's massive. Should we wait for it to leave before crossing? That's not really an option. There are more anomalies closing in from behind. Ethan, we have to cross Egret River Bridge right now. To avoid disturbing whatever's under the bridge, we switch straight to electric mode and glide silently into the fog. But right at that moment, inside Marcus's car, Bao and Will suddenly stop breathing. Even Marcus doesn't notice it happen. But not long after we pull away, at the entrance to Egret River Bridge, several blurred figures start to materialize. Even though the shapes are already standing close, not one of them dares to set foot on the bridge itself. Because from beneath the bridge comes a sudden, thunderous roar of water, like some colossal thing is churning through it. I fight to keep the fear inside me under control, but the middle-aged man in the backseat suddenly lets out a scream. Seeing this, I quickly shape my smoke into a giant hand and hurl him straight into the middle of the bridge. His screaming ends up bringing disaster down on all of us. The sky above us goes dark almost instantly. Right after, a shadow big enough to blot out the sky begins descending on us. Seeing this, I cut the engine at once, then breathe out a thick burst of smoke, wrapping our vehicles completely inside it. In the same second, Marcus conjures a transparent barrier, sealing it over both cars. I figured the fog layered over his barrier would fully mask our presence. But right as we hold our breath, that massive tongue drops down out of nowhere, and just the force of its exhaled breath alone hits the windows like a typhoon slamming into them. I grip my machete with everything I have, the crushing pressure nearly snapping my mind in two. And worse still, it seems to have picked up on something. An abnormally massive snakehead suddenly swings around, probing toward us. In that critical moment, I push everything I have into my sequence power. Countless runes spin through my blood-red pupil, pushing my mind right to the brink of collapse. I brace for the giant serpent to swallow me whole the next instant. But the serpent suddenly turns its head aside, toward the middle-aged man who'd screamed earlier. Its enormous jaws snap open, swallowing him whole in one bite. Then, as if nothing had happened at all, it turns and slides back down beneath the river. I stay frozen for a solid 10 seconds or more, before my heartbeat starts to steady again. It's only now that Marcus fully grasps just how absurd my absolute presence concealment really is. Not even a thing that size ever noticed me. If I hadn't deliberately made a few small sounds, Marcus would never have realized just how close the danger around us really was. Ethan, Will, and Bao are gone. How could they be gone? I clearly saw them get in the car. They were hurt too badly, there's no way they walked off on their own. Ethan, did you actually see them get out? I'm sorry, Marcus. Bao and Will are almost certainly dead. We've seen this happen before. Anyone who dies here turns into a mist thrall. On this bridge, losing 2 people who mattered this much all at once is, for Marcus, nothing short of devastating. All he can do is pull the car to a stop, hold 3 minutes of silence, and then start driving again, pushing deeper into the fog. Once you all make it out of Mist City, I suppose it'll be my turn next. I don't say anything. She keeps talking anyway, to no one in particular. Before I met you, I thought every sequence awakened was like bow-strong as they were, still cut down easily by ordinary people like us. Some people claim eating a sequence awakened grants their power. Looking at you now, that was clearly a lie all along. I don't bother responding, figuring she's just talking to pass the time. You're the same as me. You did what you did just to survive. The two of us aren't really any different. There's a difference. I did it to survive, not... And besides, I have a line I won't cross. However low it sits, it's still a line. What you did, I would never do. You've killed so many people yourself, and you're lecturing me about lines? The people I killed deserved it. Even before the apocalypse, they'd have never escaped judgment. What gives you the right to decide who lives and who dies? You think you're some enforcer, some savior? I'm just trying to survive. I haven't done anything wrong. Because my fist is bigger than yours, is that reason enough for you? The girl is clearly caught off guard by my answer. She was obviously hoping to argue her way into shaking me, hoping I'd let her go afterward. Too bad I'm not falling for it. All right, you can shut up now. Don't distract me while I'm driving. By the time the car finally leaves the bridge behind, the sky has gone pitch black. Ethan, 2 kilometers straight, then take a left. We're getting closer and closer to Iron Lion. How am I supposed to know when I've hit 2 kilometers? I'll tell you when we get there. Wait, there are too many anomalies up ahead. Let's rest for a bit. The stop stretches on for a full 5 hours, until dawn finally breaks, and Marcus finally calls it time to move again. Ethan, we're less than 1 kilometer from Iron Lion's spot. Push the speed, they might be waiting on rescue right now. The moment he finishes speaking, I trigger the Blood Eyes control. The girl in the passenger seat jumps out of the car instantly, and so does the young man they call Long. The two of them, moving like puppets on strings, tear into each other in a savage brawl. I don't spare it even a glance. Meanwhile, on the other side of the region, Iron Lion is going through danger he never could have imagined. Ever since breaking out of Wrong City Elementary No. 2 with a bus full of survivors, he's carved a bloody path forward, again and again. After clearing the heavy snow zone, he found an abandoned farm resort to rest at. But while doing a head count, Old Lee discovered one survivor was missing. Apparently, the girl had slipped off to soak in the hot spring alone. By the time Iron Lion got there, she'd already transformed from a 20-year-old girl into a grotesque old woman in her 50s or 60s. Seeing trouble, Iron Lion immediately ordered everyone else to fall back, while he himself powered into his transformation, staying behind to fight it out. The battle between Iron Lion and the old woman rages on, reducing nearly the entire resort to rubble before he finally breaks free. By the time he makes it back to the bus, Iron Lion is covered head to toe in wounds. Thankfully, a Titan Sequence's recovery is on another level. He's mostly back to normal within about 2 hours. But the bus's nightmare has only just begun. Not long after, while the bus is on the move, they run into a faceless anomaly. In that fight, Iron Lion loses a leg, just barely getting the survivors out. And then, a third time, the convoy encounters a man standing beneath a streetlight. The man quickly lures away 3 survivors, and Iron Lion only manages to shake him off by paying with someone's head. By this third incident, with so many survivors packed on the bus, it quickly draws in an even larger swarm of anomalies. With no other choice, the convoy finally pushes into the mist. But the moment they enter it, someone immediately starts coughing. Thankfully, Dr. Luo's caution saves them. He gets everyone masked up right away, preventing any further losses. Visibility drops to almost nothing. For the first time, Iron Lion feels he's facing the most dangerous crisis of his entire life. These anomalies have no faces at all, just churning masses of mist, and there are more of them than he can count. Just as Iron Lion braces for a fight to the death, a familiar voice suddenly cuts through beside him. "You big idiot, have you lost your damn mind? Wait, you're still alive?" Iron Lion stands blocking in front of a pregnant woman, disbelief thick in his voice. "You big oaf, what are you standing there for, run?" "I can't, she's pregnant." All around the two of them, blurred shapes keep coming at Iron Lion, again and again. Without thinking, I glance over at the woman's rounded belly. In that instant, it hits me like a hammer to the skull. There are so few of us left already. But inside her belly is a brand new life. I go silent for less than a second, and the next moment I breathe out a thick burst of smoke, letting it spread out in every direction at once. I know the rule well by now. Once we survive those 3 minutes, we're in the clear. Day 32 since the apocalypse began. Marcus and I finally cross Egret River Bridge and find Iron Lion at last. But the sight that greets us is the worst possible scene. Iron Lion is completely surrounded by mist thralls right now, his whole body covered in wounds, every single strike burning through what strength he has left. Without a moment's hesitation, I breathe out a dense cloud of smoke, which quickly takes the shape of the death god. In an instant, the blurred figures throw themselves into a brawl with it. At the same time, the runes in my left eye's pupil suddenly awaken. With a flash of blood-red light, any thrall that tries to close in on me instantly bursts into flame. But right then, I feel my arm seize up abruptly. 2 mist thralls have latched on from somewhere behind me, gripping my arm in a vice, dragging me straight toward the depths of the fog. Hua's words flash through my mind at once. Once a mist thrall drags you deep into the fog, you become one of them. On the other side, Iron Lion sees me caught in the thrall's grip. The next second, he charges over without a second thought. "Idiot, what are you doing?" "I'm going to help Ethan." "Go on ahead, we'll catch up." "Idiot, even if every last one of us dies, he's not the type who can." Just as I'm about to be pulled completely into the swarm, a mist thrall that looks like Bao suddenly appears right beside me. "Ethan, go! Quickly, go!" In that moment, I'm almost certain it's a fragment of Bao's own mind, still hanging on. So I let myself dissolve into a wisp of smoke and disappear right where I stand. When I reappear, I'm already back in the Doomsday Rig's driver's seat. The instant the engine turns over, mist thralls come pouring in from every direction at once, even the ones I just burned apart moments ago, reforming out of the fog all over again. All I can do is slam the gas pedal down. Little do I know, right at that moment, Iron Lion's silhouette suddenly appears right in front of me. "You idiot, why did you come back?" "I was worried you'd gotten surrounded." "Good, you're fine. Enough talk, get in." Thankfully, the Doomsday Rig's chassis has already been reinforced. We plow straight through, smashing open a path by force, but inside the fog's reach, the mist thralls seem endless. For the first time, 3 minutes feels like an eternity. Desperate, I grit my teeth, and a willow branch guides the Blood Moon machete out through the window, shredding apart every thrall blocking our path one by one. Iron Lion, meanwhile, goes for the direct approach, firing off blast after blast of compressed air out the window, the violent shock waves ripping the road surface apart, and nearly flipping the entire vehicle onto its side. Right as we're about to lose control completely, the Doomsday Rig triggers its own ability on its own. Right after, countless chains shoot out from underneath the vehicle. The thralls just about to close in don't even have time to react before the chains lock around them tight and drag them straight into the chassis. "Ethan, What do we do now? In a second, follow my lead. Don't panic. Right after that, I burst out of the car door, then exhale hard, and the next second, thick smoke pours out of my mouth without stop, and within moments the smoke swallows several hundred meters whole. 12 o'clock. Iron Lion doesn't hesitate for a second. He fires straight toward 12 o'clock, scattering every thrall nearby, and the thralls that had just charged into the smoke seemed to lose all sense of direction instantly, freezing in place one after another. Even so, more and more thralls keep pouring into the smoke, flooding endlessly toward us. In this moment of crisis, I suddenly remember the endless swarm of crawlers back in Wrong City, so I summon a huge wave of crawlers of my own, throwing them at the thralls in the crudest, most brute force way possible. Soon, two tides of monsters collide head-on inside the smoke, locked together in a brutal tangle, neither side able to push forward another inch. Ethan, what now? Hold on, just a little longer. As the ring around us tightens, bit by bit, I'm already drenched in sweat. But just as the power inside me is about to run completely dry, every single thrall's movement comes to a dead stop, all at the exact same moment. The next second, as if all their strength has simply given out, they dissolve away into faint wisps of mist. Seeing it, I drop straight down onto the ground. It only took 3 minutes, but it nearly cost both Iron Lion and me our lives, permanently, right here. Iron Lion isn't in much better shape either. He looks utterly wrecked. Ethan, is it over? Should be. Neither of us moves for a while. About 10 minutes later, Marcus's SUV finally rolls slowly into view. Hey, have you two rested up enough? It's already this late. Shouldn't we be moving? We make our way over to Iron Lion's school bus. To my surprise, there are still over 30 survivors packed inside. If they hadn't run into the mist over and over along the way, even more of them would have made it. Just then, a woman with her hand resting on her belly steps up to me. Both her and the child inside her surviving, I did have a hand in that. Mr. Chen, thank you. If it weren't for you, my baby and I might already be gone. Don't thank me. If you're going to thank anyone, thank Iron Lion. If that big idiot hadn't stood his ground, I wouldn't have risked myself to save you. The woman pauses for a moment, then shakes her head firmly anyway. Either way, it was your choice that saved me. Thank you. You're a good man. I don't answer. Soon, word of Bao and Will's death spreads through the convoy, and the mood among the survivors sinks noticeably. Everyone knows the only reason this convoy has held together this well was Bao's steady hand and Will's careful attention. With them gone, Fu gets pushed forward by the group as the new convoy assistant, and, even more surprising, Nathan Zhui ends up taking over as convoy manager, which leaves the survivors who used to push him around more than a little rattled. I don't get involved much either way. Instead, I quietly tally up what today's fight brought in. Going head-to-head with the Mist Thralls earns me a full 60,000 kill points in one go. Marcus, in a rare show of mercy, orders the convoy to stand down and rest for 30 minutes. I take advantage of the break to rip the passenger seat straight out of my car and toss it aside without a second thought. Then I pull a still decent seat off a nearby wrecked SUV and bolt it in instead. Nathan sticks around, lending a hand the whole time, working fast and efficiently. He even digs a working car stereo out of an abandoned minivan nearby, which puts me in a rare good mood. At least I won't be bored on the road anymore. On the other side, Lena and Big Gao stay close by Marcus, gathering up the clothes Bao and Will used to wear and folding them, one piece at a time. They dig a small hole in a roadside flower bed and gently bury the clothes there. No ceremony, no words spoken. In the apocalypse, that's about as much dignity as anyone can offer. I'm still busy bolting down the seat when I notice Nathan wiping down the car door beside me, chewing on a piece of chocolate like it's nothing. You've still got chocolate? Yeah. My little sister loves this stuff. I'm saving it for when I find her. I just wish I'd been able to protect her better, hoping that when I see her again, she won't be mad at me. You keep talking about your little sister. What's her name? Sherry Zhu. Have you ever heard that name, Ethan? No, I haven't. If I ever do, I'll let you know. Hearing that, Nathan visibly relaxes, even managing a rare, small smile. Seeing him look that hopeful, I don't tell him the truth. I let him keep going, hope intact. Alright, that's enough wiping. Go take care of your own stuff. Day 32 since the apocalypse began. Once the convoy is confirmed to have finally reached safe ground, Marcus finally shows some mercy. Not only does he give everyone a 30-minute rest, he even puts together a simple, quiet funeral for Bao and Will. This battle earns me a full 60,000 kill points in one stretch. Move out, everyone get moving. Remember the convoy's first iron rule, never ever fall behind. Oldly, is everyone accounted for on your end? 34 in total, everyone's here. Fair convoy, move out. Since the apocalypse began, this is the first time I've heard actual music. Marcus, how far away are Qianqian and Ivy? Not too far. About 30 kilometers or so. If everything goes smoothly, we should catch up with them in another 2 hours. Lena, Qianqian, you don't think anything's happened to them, do you? Don't worry, Qianqian's plenty strong. They're probably already safe. Qianqian, hold on just a little longer. The 3 minutes are almost up. Oath rise, dragon soul, tear the sky. Ah, scatter. We actually held on. Burn the wicked across all 8 realms. This single strike cuts down every mist anomaly in its path. This rate of growth of yours is honestly ridiculous. At this pace, I'm starting to wonder if you're secretly cheating. It's not that I'm that strong. It's this sword it's different. It's like it was made from the start just to kill things like these. Artifacts really do make people jealous. If I had one of my own, maybe I wouldn't have almost lost my life to Ethan's little stunt back there. Qian, next time I see Ethan, I really need to apologize to him properly. What I did to him this time, that was on me, Ivy. That wasn't right. If he knew it wasn't intentional, I'm sure he'd understand.